Welcome to Fesrad.
Science, and in the 21st century, that means skateboarding and BMX. In the depths of winter, Tallinn hosts the biggest skateboarding and BMX contest on the calendar. This is Simple Session 2019. We are about to undergo two huge contests, the first of which is BMX Street, then it's BMX Park. And joining me to make sense of all of the action is one of the most stylish men ever to throw his leg over a BMX, Mr. Chris Doyle.
Thank you so much, Ed. I am super excited to be back here with you. Tallinn, Estonia, Simple Session 2019. It's going to be a good day, man.
We're kicking off with BMX Street, always a huge notch on the calendar because it was only introduced 2 years ago. The only man ever to have won it, Garrett Reynolds, isn't here this year. We are going to have a new Simple Session champion.
Well, that's right. And Garrett Reynolds is the most influential street rider in the last decade, so his presence is definitely missed here at Simple Session. But I can't help but to feel a little bit excited to know that we're going to see a new face on the top of that podium here in BMX Street.
And there is a massive, it's a very, very diverse field, isn't it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We got riders from all over the world, all different backgrounds. They're coming here, descending upon the Saku Arena to be here as a part of this street contest. It's going to be really fun. We got an eclectic bunch. It's going to be an awesome contest.
Okay, join us right after this. We are going to be back with BMX Street Finals. That is followed by BMX Park Finals. See you in a second. The Saku Arena is building its atmosphere. It's almost at capacity. The riders are being introduced out on the floor there, and they're starting to make some noise because they know what is coming up over the course of the next 3 hours. We are kicking off with BMX Street, then we'll go straight into BMX Park. Chris, let's start with BMX Street. We cut down nearly 60 riders to just 12 yesterday in qualifiers, and the top 3 were nothing short of breathtaking.
Oh yeah, the contest certainly did not disappoint. We had Courage Adams coming out, showing you that precision, showing you the balance, showing you the tricks that he's got. He's a real big threat to that top spot. In second place, we had Felix Prengenberg. He came in with a lot of creativity. He had so many unique lines on the course. Check this out, 180 onto the wedge, 180 tail whip off. Check out the way he uses the rails, 180 hard way off that double peg. Check this out, double peg, 450 out, clean as you like.
You were talking about that earlier, so difficult.
Yeah, and then of course our first place qualifier, Matt Ray. Matt just made everything look so easy, so simple. Check this out, truck driver up that, bar catch, bar 360 to fakie. And look at him, he just looks so casual. Check this out, 360 tail whip to fakie at the end of his run. It's so hard to do that type of stuff when you're tired like that.
Okay, there was some very impressive riding, and Matt Ray did end up on top, but he's the man with the target on his back when the finals start. Tuliyev Stigneyev, our courtside reporter, is with Matt Ray now.
So I'm here with Matt Ray. Matt, you qualified first, which means you're dropping in last. Do you think it's a disadvantage or an advantage in the competition?
I think it's both. It really just depends how I handle it, because the pressure is definitely on me, but it gives me the advantage to see what people do, kind of decide like how hard I should go or what I should do. So I think it's a benefit for sure. It's good.
So what is your strategy for the run? Are you going to stick to the same run you had in the qualies, or are you going to change it up a little bit?
I think I'll do kind of the same stuff, maybe add a few tricks, change a few things, but we'll have to see. You never know, because I could mess something up and then have to do something else, so we'll see what happens.
Well, we've been rooting for you, and yeah, good luck in the finals.
Cool, thank you so much. Cool.
Matt Ray looking very, very relaxed there.
Yeah, absolutely. And in addition to that, those top 3 guys, you got to watch out for the rest of our field. Watch out for a guy like Lewis Mills, a guy that actually beat Garrett Reynolds in a professional competition just earlier this year. And of course, we got to watch out for someone like Brock Rayford as well. He's nursing a sore knee. He just got off knee surgery, but he's here and he's hungry and he's ready to rip. Now, and keep in mind, like I said, Lewis Mills and Brock both have what it takes to pull out a big win, maybe even an upset here.
Well, we saw it in qualifying. qualifiers, the scores are so close. There is the opportunity for anyone to jump from the back of the pack right up to the top spots. One man who can definitely do that is the upstate New York rider, Mark Burnett. I caught up with him a little bit earlier in the week. So we're going to take a look now at Lewis Mills. Just take a look at some of the highlights from qualifiers from him.
It's an absolute honor sharing the microphone duties with none other than Mr. Darren now.
Okay, we're going to go and see Mark Burnett's highlights. I apologise.
Thank you very much, Simple Session.
So these are the highlights from Mark's run in 2018 Simple Session. Then you got the Summer Session 2018 where he came back again. This kid loves Estonia. Put down a couple of video parts with Jiri Blabol, the Czech rider. He's been doing a little bit of an exchange program with Eastern Europe, hasn't he?
Yeah, he spent some time out in New York with those guys, traveling around with the Shadow team, and you're going to see some of that veteran experience that's rubbed off on Jiri here in the street final today.
Okay, we're going to go over now. I did catch up with Mark Burnett earlier in the week, and this is what I found out.
So show your respect for Tom Bogard.
Hey, I'm Mark Burnett. I'm from upstate New York. I'm 20 years old, and I'm here at Simple Session.
What's your favourite element of Simple Session? What keeps bringing you back here?
I mean, probably just the camaraderie, because there's a few places in the world where you can kind of get everybody together and feel like you're free still. That's probably the most conducive environment for growth and for friendly competition.
Having that street element, splitting it up, has that changed the competition for you?
Yeah, and I quite like it actually, because it does give us street guys, if you will, a platform not only to showcase what we can do, but also be judged accordingly on it.
Do you not get that feeling, though, from Simple Session especially, that the crowd are pretty well educated?
Yeah, they do a really good job. I can't stress enough, like, here more than pretty much anywhere else, like, you will get cheers for doing a full cab over a rail or something, which is baffling to me that they even have the beginningest of an inkling at what's going on. And it's actually pretty cool, yeah.
It's such a melting pot here. Do you take a lot away from riding Simple Session in terms of style and ideas for tricks?
BMX is what I love, right? So I pretty much spend all of my days studying everything in the world, whether it's art, music, other bike riders, skateboarders, anything that you can draw influence from, and craft a style that is not only your own, but one that you're proud of.
Coming back to Simple Session, how has the course changed? What are your favourite parts of it?
Anything that's a little bit weird, a little bit obscure, those are the things that I find joy in riding. Something that you don't just do the trick on, the obstacle is the trick. But yeah, anything that's just not really meant to be ridden, that's just a street rider's mentality, right? You just want to ride things that nobody really wants you to ride. And you're gonna do it anyway.
Well, he was talking about the course there, and we're going to get to that very quickly. But once we've seen the riders, the next thing to talk about is always the comp format. Now, it's changed slightly from last year.
Yeah, this year it's 2 runs, best 1 run counts. These guys have 1 minute on the course for each run, and it's judged on a points scale from 0 to 100. Pretty simple, but these guys are aiming just for that 1 solid run, 2 to make it true.
It puts a lot of pressure on them. I mean, qualifiers ran the same way, but there isn't that same jam format or the looser program that you get if you have 3 runs and the best 2 count. This is do or die from the off.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, this is do or die. You got to get that 1 good score, and you have 2 chances to make it happen. I know a lot of these guys are really excited about that because 3 runs was getting them a little bit too tired, and they really couldn't focus on what they wanted to do. So I think we are in store for a really great contest here because all these guys need is that 1 run. They need 1 minute of fury.
Well, we always talk about the start of the show here, and yeah, it does turn out to be the winner on a lot of occasions, but as it builds up, we're always looking at the course. That is what everyone looks forward to, and we sent out Felix Prangenberg and Daniel Dares to take a closer look at it.
Hi, I'm Daniel Dares. I'm here with Felix, last name.
Rangenberg.
And we're here at Simple Session. We're gonna explain you guys a few of the obstacles on this year's course.
Personally, that's my favorite simple session course so far. You can get creative at so many parts, and yeah, I really like it. Right behind us is one of my favorite obstacles. It's like a step up and latches on the both sides, so you can like grind up it or do something up it or down.
For the park guys, like we're using it to go up, to get speed, to do the transfer back there or coming back. So it's gonna be very interesting to see what people can do up and down. So behind me, we have the box jump. It's a very standard feature in most courses, but Simple Session added its own twist and put a little hole in the middle, so it makes the jump look crazy when you're in the air.
That's the A-frame rail. It's pretty good for all kind of grind tricks or like rail hops. The upper bang is like shorter, so you can go over the rail, do like 360 rail hops and stuff.
I think I might skip the rail on my run, but it's actually a super fun obstacle to watch the street riders use because it gives you so many options. We have the Visit Estonia feature, which is the spine, the 8 or 10 foot quarter, and the little bank. This feature is connecting most of the whole park. So I'm very excited to watch people ride it this weekend. Simple Session has that magic where they are able to blend those obstacles with a lot of other crazy stuff, and that's what makes Simple Session unique.
Well, that is what Nate Wessel works his entire year on perfecting, is making sure that this course has all of those little idiosyncrasies, the puzzle, if you like, that you have to unlock.
Nathan Wessel never disappoints. This course is built for creativity, originality, and built for the big tricks that we've come to expect from Simple Session.
Okay, you look at this course, I've watched you looking at it. As soon as you get here and you see it, you're like, oh, maybe that line of work, I could suggest that, Tim. What's really speaking to you from this course at the moment?
Well, me personally, I like the Visit Estonia spine and quarter pipe option. I like the lines into and out of it. It's really interesting to see how each rider interprets that area of the course. I think that is going to be a really important part of the course in the judges' eyes as well.
Okay, that's what Chris Doyle thinks. If you want to join in the conversation, you can using the hashtag #SimpleSession. Any questions, any advice, any pointers you've got, send them all in. We'll do our best to answer them during the broadcast. We'll be watching all of the channels. Right now, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll have BMX Street Finals. 12 men, 2 runs. See you then. So there is that behemoth of a course, absolutely vast. And we've seen some interesting corners of it used in the street qualifiers. Now it's time for finals, and we're going to kick off with one of Russia's finest, Max Chuprina, out of Krasnoyarsk, now living in Moscow. He's been a simple session regular for years. Been a cornerstone of the Russian BMX scene as well. He's developed his riding in some of, I'd say, some of the least known cities on earth for BMX, the likes of Vladivostok and some of the corners. I think Novosibirsk and Novokuznetsk in the depths of Siberia have seen his tires on occasion.
Those are two places that I've never heard of until just now. Thanks a lot, Ed, for that geography education.
So 12 riders. Max Chuprina is going to kick it off, and as you said, this format means that he's got to throw down. He's got to find some consistency on this first run, so that he has the freedom to build and really put something special together in his second run.
It is never easy being the first guy to drop in at a contest. Pretty much every score that happens after this is based on his score. So really, he's got to throw down super hard. This has to be a good run for Max. But you know what? Max is so consistent with some very difficult tricks. Check that out. That's 180 hard way bar spin, and he's keeping it going, showing you the tail whip in, just reverting it around. Great way to start a run. Tail whip on the wedge. It's like I said, he's really consistent. We saw him in Latvia. He was one of our finalists there as well. Showing you the flair, showing you he's got the park tricks as well as the street tricks. There's that truck driver.
How does that measure up? I mean, are the judges still looking for park tricks in a street comp?
Well, not necessarily, but it can't hurt.
Right. Well, essentially it's burning time. But it does, like you say, it proves a little bit of flow and it keeps the speed moving.
Well, yeah, he's got to turn around anyway, so hey, why not do a flare? Check that out, hard way, 180 bars, keeps it going backwards. Bar spin on that Red Bull quarter. 180 bars down, the Euro gap, pulls it back around. Has not touched the ground once with his feet. And again, he's a consistent finalist here at Simple Session. This is not the first time we're seeing Max.
I tell you what, we are seeing that run is almost a carbon copy in some senses of Grayson Fletcher's run in the skate finals earlier, where he threw down first run, was an incredibly high score and immediately became the benchmark. You said he needed a big score, he needed a big ride to open this, and he's done exactly that.
Yeah, check out that hard way, 180 bars, pulling away from that rail, keeps it going backwards, and then check this out, revert, tail whip, right back into the wedge, keeps it going. Showing you the flare on the quarter pipe. Again, he had to turn around, so why not do a flare?
Yeah, why not?
Tail whip over the wedge. I mean, it was a great run. He's going a little bit slow. It's not as exciting and as showy, but you know, he has another run. He'll come back and lay another one down for us.
Well, Chuprina made finals in 2017, ended up in 6th. Made finals last year and ended up in 9th. I think that's a pretty solid run, and it's far too early to say where he's going to end up, but he hasn't done himself any harm with 1 minute of very, very high quality riding there.
Also a finalist at the Simple Summer Session in Latvia. So you can see he's got the consistency. It's always good to be in the finals. That's what you really want to do. When you come to a contest like this, your main objective is just to make the finals first, and then you send it when you get to the finals.
The great and the good of BMX Street lined up behind Max Chuprina there. And Bart de Jong up there in the brown cap, head judge, discussing this with all of the other judges, making sure they're all on board with what he's thinking and what he's seen. Reed Stark didn't make finals. Very, very disappointing. Had a really clean run. It wasn't technical enough, was it?
Yeah, you know, I think he might have been using the ramps a little bit too much. His run looked more like a park run in a lot of ways than a street run.
Well, that is almost as predictable as they get, 75.4. It's that's pretty much your standard. You've landed a run, let's put you slap bang in between 50 and 100.
That's the middle of the road right there. And you know what? I think the judges really like that. You get a clean, consistent run to start things off, and now you can kind of build on that, on what he did, on what Max did.
Okay, there's our start list. Matt Ray will get to go last. Next rider in is going to be Lewis Mills, though. The young Australian is the prodigy of Garrett Reynolds, the man who has won this contest for the last 2 years. He hasn't turned up this year. Will his prodigy take his crown?
Well, Lewis Mills certainly could do that. He got a silver medal at the Australian X Games just this past year. So he knows what it takes. And keep in mind, Garrett Reynolds got third at that contest. So he's beat Garrett Reynolds in a fair competition before. So Lewis Mills has the skills. He has the consistency. He has the style. He looks good on his bike. The judges really like him.
Tell you what, there was a bit of rhyming in there, Chris. You could be a rapper.
I appreciate that. I'll keep my day job for now. Thank you.
Justin Spree actually rates him as one of the most talented up-and-comers, and I have just put the curse of the commentator on him. But Lewis Mills has proved himself and then some in 2018.
Well, yeah, we saw that bar spin, the crank arm grind he just did. He's bobbled a few things already, so when you miss a beat, you lose the rhythm. It's hard to get back into the flow of things. Once you miss one or two things, it's hard to pick up the pieces and really get back going again. So he kind of knows that this run's going to be a wash. He's just kind of coasting around, letting the bike fly. And pretty uncharacteristic of Lewis Mills, actually, because he's very consistent, typically.
Okay, so run one is a scratch for Lewis Mills.
And the beauty of that, he puts himself in the pressure cooker to get that big second run score now.
Max Ciprinia getting left hanging there badly by Lewis Mills.
What a thing for our cameras to catch.
Oh, Max, I feel for you.
He was trying to go bar spin into the double peg, accidentally landed feeble, and then he had to drop down. So you miss your first trick, and it's hard just to get going again.
That bar spin to crank arm slide, lovely. Lovely style. It's always the danger I find with BMX Street when you've got someone with that much style that they're making stuff look too easy.
Yeah, sometimes they call that the Joey Garcia syndrome. Because Joey Garcia from back in the day would always just make everything look so easy, and he was never getting really those scores that you wanted. Everyone's like, hey, you got to make it look like you're actually trying. So I always thought that was funny. Whenever I see someone that makes things look too easy, I'm like, oh, that's the Joey Garcia syndrome.
Okay, we can go down now to Thule, who's with Lewis Mills.
Lewis, so, you know, the other riders have been calling you the current legend, but you're like the new generation rider. What do you take on that?
I don't know, I'm just trying to make it happen over here. Not really asking for the titles, but yeah.
So are you going to give it your all in your second run?
Oh, definitely. The first one was a bit disappointing. Didn't really do anything I was planned to do, but hopefully the second run works out.
Well, we'll be rooting for you, so good luck on the second run.
Thank you.
Okay, so Lewis Mills, no surprises there. All the pressure on the second run. You can see Bruno Hoffman, Mark Burnett, Felix Prangenberg, AK, Alex Kennedy, and Brock Rayford all lined up along there. Lewis Mills making his way back up onto the platform. Now it's the turn of Jiří Blabol, guy who spent most of this summer just gone, 2018, in New York, and it seems to have paid off in his riding.
Yeah, absolutely. I talked to him when we were in Latvia for the Simple Summer Session, and he was just glowing, and he was buzzing about his trip to New York, and he was telling me how fun it was and what they got to ride and everything. So it's really great to have Jiří back at the Simple Session. Watch the bars. See if you can count how many times he does his bar spins, because he loves to throw the bars. That was an opposite bar, catch bar, and you can usually tell by their body language whether it's opposite or regular. There's the double bar spin drop in. That was his regular direction. Oh, double peg up, opposite tail whip, and then a regular tail whip, showing that he can do it both directions.
He's using the bar spin like a multiplier on a pinball machine, isn't he? He's just cranking up those points.
And you just saw him do the hard 360 out of that flat rail. When I say he's pulling hard way, he's pulling his bike and body away from the rail. The quote-unquote easy way would be go into the rail.
Okay, so Blabol clean for the first 45, and then he drops it.
And once again, Ed jinxes him as he says he's riding so clean.
I'm gonna stop claiming anything for anyone now.
Check out the 180 tail up over the wedge. Easy as you like.
The buzzer, and that is in time, ladies and gentlemen. Let's hear it one more time.
Well, he did that after the buzzer, the slam right there, so I don't think that's going to hurt him too much. He did have one step off, but I think that's going to be a really good score.
A solid score, but it's another excuse for the judges. We know that we're going to see some really big, really clean runs, so The judges have got to leave themselves some space.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. There's that bar catch bar. That's opposite. And check this out. Up double peg, opposite tail whip. Check this out. Hard way 360. Remember, he's pulling away from that rail out of that double peg.
So danger that if the peg slips at all or he pulls too hard, then he loses his pop.
Yeah, it's very easy to lose your pop on a hard way 360 like that. And a lot of times your back wheel will catch the rail as you're trying to pull away from it. And he's removed the chain from around his neck just there.
Okay, Achim Kujalski, German technician in the middle of the judges pack there. So Jerry Blabel, little seat adjustment while the scores come in 66.2.
Well, I'm so thankful that I'm not a judge because I would have judged that a little bit differently, but the judges, you see how many points they're deducting when you step off like that.
Okay, next in, Alex Kennedy from Croydon.
Man, Alex Kennedy is just a tech
Every year
wizard.
I come, it gets better and better, and it's always new people coming and progressing riding. So I really just love how the course flows this year. The speed, it's easy to keep your speed and just sets you up perfect for everything.
So Alex Kennedy, 29 years old, one of the smoothest styles in the game, AKA AK. He's just known by his initials. Super into his health, like does a lot of meditation, yoga, uses supplements, extracts, organic food.
Yeah, he's got a very healthy lifestyle, and for Alex Kennedy, creativity is the name of the game. Originality, creativity. He's got some of the coolest tricks in all of street riding right now. Showing you that double peg. 450. Oh, check out the toboggan. Landing Smith down the ledge. Loves a good toboggan. Double peg up and over. Lots of speed. Gapping up, double peg on the spine. Showing he's got the park skills too. Which it's kind of rare for a guy like Alex Kennedy to be seen on riding a spine and some quarter pipes. He's usually just a total street dog. 360X up over our dig volcano, up on the catwalk. Check that out. Feeble downside ice pick from the fast plant. Oh, really cool original lines. Like I said, for him, creativity is the name of the game.
Well, it's a rarity even to see him in competition, I would think. Like, he's not a big comp dog, so to see him come out here, put his riding under the watchful eye of the judges is a real treat.
Yeah, this certainly is not his first Simple Session. He loves coming to these things. He loves putting on for the Simple Session crowd and really showing the creativity that we're talking about. There's that toboggan to Smith. There's that big gap up to the spine, double peg grind. I'm not sure how the judges are going to judge that, but that was a solid run. I mean, he didn't really bobble too much, and I really love what he did up that catwalk. It was a feeble downside fast plant to ice pick, showing you the 180 toboggan out of that catwalk, and then this hard way 180 out of the double peg. It was a clean run for Alex Kennedy once again.
Okay, we'll see what the judges make of it. At the moment, the top score to beat is 75.4, and Alex Kennedy moves in with a 76. So judged just above Max Chuprina of Russia. Now, here we go. Justin Spreen rocking the Parks and Recreation moustache there. No mistaking who's in charge of this course.
Justin Spreet comes from a BMX family. His father rides BMX. I've actually had many sessions with his father, maybe more so than I've had with Justin, but Justin is a jack of all trades. He can ride trails, he can ride parks, and of course, as we're about to see, he can ride street. Going up crooked, 180 bar out. He's another guy, he makes things look really easy. Never really looks like he's trying too hard. There's that 180 crooks, 180 out bar spin. When I say crooks, I mean it's a crooked grind. One peg is on one side of the rail, the other peg is on the other side. Oh. Oh man, hard way 180, crooked grind down the rail, kind of the opposite way from what he did it before. He likes the backwards grinds, doesn't he? Showing you that 180 to feeble. And he's doing things on both sides of the bike. You're going to hear me talk about opposite and regular a lot. That means when I say he's doing opposite, it's usually on the other side of his bike or he's spinning in the other direction.
He's also a goofy footer, though, in terms of spinning, isn't he?
I believe he is, which makes my job even all that much more difficult.
Yeah, you really got to keep an eye on it. Oh, it's the first time I've seen one. Double pegger all the way through the A-frame. Really clean run for the kid from Murrieta, California. Todd Spreet, no doubt, will be watching, and I imagine he'll be filled with pride watching that.
Oh yeah, of course. It looked like he wanted a little bit more out of that A-frame grind. But check it out, the crooked grind up, 180 bars out. There's that 180 crooked grind, bringing it back around with the bar spin.
I get the feeling as well, in comparison to Alex Kennedy and Max Ciprinia, he had a really high work rate, just in terms, like the technicality was right up there, it was clean, but he also, I think he put more tricks in, there was more bounce to the ounce.
Yeah, I mean, and you got to utilize that full minute. I mean, you got to use every second that you can. So, yeah, it's all about getting as many tricks as you can in that 1 minute run.
That is a fantastic moustache, though. 82.4 for Justin Spreet. First place for the Californian. So the pressure is now on. 5 riders gone, 7 still to drop in the BMX Street Final. Next guy in is the Wunderkind from France, Anthony Perrin. Burst onto the scene back in 2012 with a couple of really impressive flatland edits, but he's been pushing street harder and harder of late.
He's a really, really great street rider. I know that he gets a little bit nervous in competition, so we'll see if he can shake those nerves and really put together a solid run. Showing you the 180 up. Nice and steezy 180.
Yeah, when you talk about comp nerves, I always think if you can get that first trick out of the way, then you can settle down instantly.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So he's got a couple tricks under his belt already. So he's up and running, and you'll watch the way his confidence builds. Big 360 over that sub and into the wedge. First guy we've seen do that line so far.
So the kid from Tarare, just outside Lyon in France.
Showing you toothpick grinds going on both sides of the bike yet again.
8th last year, so he made finals again last year, but it's the problem. I think it's especially with something like flatland, when you come from that side of the sport, and actually we've seen it in all of the street guys, perfection is the only thing that's acceptable.
Yeah,
in the runs.
Especially in a competition format that's going to be this strict. I mean, you got to stomp your run. You got to be consistent. You have to land those tricks. And unfortunately, he bobbled a few times. I don't think that's going to take top honors, but it's a good first run for Anthony Perrin.
Well, it'd be interesting. We'll get an idea now of how much a fall, or not a fall, but a bail. I think it's through here. He just drops the foot on the second one of these.
Yeah,
love that.
Nose up, tooth hanger, down the A-frame.
So, Bart de Jong.
Taking a look at our judges. There's Brian Kaczynski right there, one of the gnarliest street riders in the game, still doing it.
So the crowd just warming up slowly. You can see themselves on the Jumbotron. Giving it a little wave. Nervous wait for Anthony Perrin. See what we get. Judges are definitely done. It means the score's getting punched in. 71.4. So 4th place. The foot cost him, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. And we can see how strict the judges are being right now as well.
Okay, let's take a look at the standings after our first 6 riders. Justin Spreet, 82.4. Alex Kennedy, very clean run just behind. And then we had that benchmark run from Max Ciprinia. Lewis Mills, really disappointing run from him, and all the pressure is on for the second run. Next rider in is the German who came in second last year, Bruno Hoffmann.
And you always meet a lot of friends from all over the world, and it's just like a good come together in a cool city, in a cool country. Yeah, it really pushes you because you know that qualifying is almost harder than finals because everyone is just going for it. So I would say that qualifying is like almost the hardest part.
So Bruno Hoffmann, always known for his power, his ability to blend style and flow with the technical tricks that he's capable of.
It's so awesome to see Bruno out here still doing it. And I say still doing it just because I've known him since he was a little kid. I met him in Berlin, Germany so long ago, and he was only like 13, 14 years old at the time. But he's like the cleanest, most consistent guy with the rollbacks. And you're going to notice him doing a lot of things on both sides of the bike. Remember what I said, opposite sides of the bike, opposite spins. He's the master of doing stuff on both sides of the bike and landing fakie as well. Showing you that 180 crooked grind. Oh, check that out. He went regular pegs over the rail to his opposite pegs. And he's the first guy we've seen really touch that rail so far. Pole jam 360 on up. He's got a clean run going. And Bruno's one of those guys, too, where the more tricks he pulls, the more comfortable he gets. So it kind of builds. His run gets better and better and better.
And this is the kind of run you want to see him having this early on. Oh,
yeah.
Because it frees him up for that second run.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. If you get a good first run, you're so relaxed on that second run. You can play around a little bit, maybe take a little bit more chances. Good run from Bruno Hoffman. And it doesn't look like these guys are moving very fast. It doesn't look like they're trying very hard, but trust me, this is exhausting.
Well, they're not using the ramps to generate the height. Anyway, like you're yanking this bike around. You've got to place it.
Yeah, and it's not all about strength. There's a lot of form and technique that goes into getting that bike off the ground. Check this out. Crooked grind, going hard way, 180 out. And it's amazing to me that the judges know what's regular, they know what's opposite, and they're able to put that into their scores.
So Daryl now was up there, the walking encyclopedia of BMX information. Today he's walking around in flares and I'd call it a lemon pie or a lemon cheesecake ruffled shirt. It looks fantastic. Next in, Brock Rayford, 24-year-old. So powerful. One of those riders who's an absolute joy to watch. So you can see he's got the smile on his face.
Well, Brock was one of the guys that I've been talking about all weekend. I'm super excited that he's here. He's coming off of a knee surgery. He had ACL and meniscus surgery. He's been rehabbing that knee. He's been trying to get it stronger. And he said this was his motivation, to be able to get back and ride this contest. He's been on our podium before in the past, and I'm sure he'd love to be up there again today.
I've seen that he pulled that trick out last year. It's one of those ones that you get on replay every time you watch a simple session edit.
And you just saw him do a huge gap up and over that sub right there into the wedge. It looked like he wanted a little bit more, maybe a bar spin or a tail whip. And he's got one of the best hardway 360s out of rails that I've ever seen. Brock Rayford and Dan Lacey have that trick on lock. Oh, and he's trying to go back up into the ramp, showing you that up, double tire across the spine. Looked like he wanted to bar in out of that.
And it is literally tires width, because if you get outside that tire width, you're on the coping, so it's going to start getting really slippery.
Right. And we just saw all that pop that Brock has, because he went from flat to the rail. Check that out. Double peg pulling over hardway 360. We saw him do that in qualifying, but he did it after the buzzer in qualifying, so I think it hurt his score a little bit.
Well, it was pretty close here as well. It'll be interesting to see if he managed to squeeze it in this time. But Brock Rayford collects his hat and potentially a very big score.
There's that tooth over tooth. Back to that regular side. They're showing him hitting the ramp. Showing you that bar spin. Truck driver fly out. That's from flat. Double peg grind pulling out hard way 180. I love this right here. Double peg pulling back over the rail, hard way 360 out. He's the only guy you're going to see doing that today.
Okay, put your reputation on the line, Chris. Is that the top score?
I would put that as the top.
Ooh, yes.
But it's a good thing I'm not a judge, because as we see the score coming in, 78.6 puts him in 3rd place. But you know what? If he cleans up that run, if he gets everything that he wanted to do originally, if he throws the bars where he wanted to, if he throws the tail where he wanted to, he could really take top honors.
Okay, we saw a little bit on Mark Burnett earlier on, the kid from upstate New York who's talked about, he's hydrating with his water. He's talked a lot about riding on his own. The fact that he's grown up the perfect distance from anything good. So no one really wants to come and see him. So he has to travel 3-4 hours to New York, to Boston, to Philly, wherever he's headed to ride. It's a distance. So.
Well, if you follow Mark on Instagram like I do, you'll see that sometimes, I mean, he's just riding in a tennis court and he has a few janky ramp setups and he's just doing the most impressive things you've ever seen. So, yeah, he doesn't have the best stuff to ride around where he lives, but yes, he travels and he kind of makes his own fun around his hometown when he can. Nice pickup. Coming off early in the run, gonna try and recover. But as you and I have seen already, we know how much those falls can affect the score. And I talked to Mark just prior to the contest. We actually had lunch together, and he was telling me that he really wants to do well, and he's more nervous than he usually is for this contest. But he's not a stranger to Simple Session. He always comes, he always has a good time. It's not our first time seeing him in the final. We saw him down in Latvia as well. And it looks like the nerves are just getting to him a little bit.
Well, he had such a clean qualifying run as well. Really unfortunate. Lost something off the bike there as well. Or he lost his wristband.
Oh, perhaps. Bar spin into that double peg grind on the spine. Oh, and he's out of here.
What? Stuck it as well.
Shunning the autographs, showing you the Smith over the rail.
Wow, that would have been hard on the wrists, I reckon, because it's a solid drop. It's a good 6-7 feet down to the floor there. You can't actually see it. There's a compression at the bottom of that ramp that's lifted. So you have the ramp platform, but then it's another 2 foot when you drop off the back.
That definitely would have hurt my wrist. It would have hurt your wrist. But Mark's a young guy. I'm sure he didn't even feel it.
Okay, let's take a look through these.
Nose to bars over that. Showing you the toe jam, showing you the ramp tricks. He can ride a little bit of everything. I like this, the way he bonks that back tire and sends that 360 over that obstacle. And then this bar spin into a double peg grind. There goes that wristband.
No VIP tonight.
Sorry, Mark. There's that Smith pulling out out of the Simple Session course, showing you the originality, showing you the creativity there.
Well, you talked about this a lot. The idea of finding yourself on a part of the course that no one else has been is good news.
Yeah, if you have an original line, if you have something that not everyone else is doing, that really counts a lot in the judges' eyes.
Okay, well, we saw Alex Kennedy put a bit of a foot down, make 76. It didn't hurt him too badly. Same for Anthony Perrin. He was down on 71.4. So we saw that early foot down. Be interesting to see where Mark Burnett fits in. 74.8, it's good enough for 6th. Thule is down with Mark Burnett now.
You're like a gift that keeps on giving. Did you plan the end of your run or you just went with it?
No, yeah, I planned it. I didn't want to fall on anybody, so I had to make sure there was someone coordinating it. So I kind of had to let the secret out of the bag a little early, but...
So what are you going to do in your second run? Any other big surprises we can wait for?
I don't know, you'll see, but hopefully I just can do everything clean and figure it out.
So there's one person I want to give like a really big shout out to, and that's your mom. Do you want to say something to your mom? I know she's watching.
Of course, I'm going to tell her to hold on because I know she's nervous right now. Try to keep it under wraps, keep it under control because I know she's probably screaming at the television.
Thank you so much. I'm going to keep all my fingers crossed for you in the next run.
Oh, that was nice, wasn't it?
Was Thule blushing a little bit there?
I think so, just a little bit. Okay, next rider up, Courage Adams, and it doesn't seem to matter where he comes in terms of results. He lights people up. There's something about him that really inspires people. He is the person that everyone wants to talk about. So,
Courage recently put out an edit for his shoe sponsor Vans that took the BMX world by storm. It was unbelievable.
Well, his big challenge here is always, well, for all the street riders, is consistency. Qualified with his second run, and you said it was uncharacteristic, dropping his first run. Usually he is the cleanest rider out there.
Yeah, and ladies and gentlemen, watch the balance. Let's look at this. Bar in, out of the nose wheelie. He's got so much precise balance. He's got the most balance in BMX right now, I'm just gonna say, besides any flatlanders out there. But just watch the way he does things. He's got so much control over that bike. Showing you that feeble, hard way 360. He's into our bowl section, scrubbing off a little bit of speed there.
Yeah, no brakes, just got to chuck the back end down.
That's right. Crank arm grind up to bar, and I love it. 180 on, using the crank arm pressure. He's not running a free coaster like so many of these other guys, and that's the risk that you take when you're trying those nose wheelie combinations like that. I mean, the back end can go down so easy, or you can go over the bars. He really takes a lot of chances.
But I've seen him make that 3 times in practice. It looked almost robotic.
Look at that. Bar to manual to 360 in our bowl section, the only guy doing that.
How on earth do you generate the rotation of just the back wheel? That's incredible.
Well, I don't know, because he does so many tricks that are like exclusive to Courage Adams. I mean, I just love the way he starts his run. Nose wheelie across the Visit Estonia quarter pipe there, bar spin in. What a way to start things off. Let the judges know that you mean business. Here's that crank arm grind up, bar spin out. And I love this, using just the crank arm pressure, no free coaster on that bike. And then
just
this.
Cranked, ready. Oh,
bar.
This is it. Where does the rotation come from?
That's all power. That's all form, technique, and strength from Courage Adams.
So, born in Nigeria, raised in Pamplona, lives in Madrid. Courage Adams, one of the most well-respected and arguably best street riders in the world.
Coming in with a 79.1. I mean, again, that was a great run, but we're seeing how strict the judges are being on getting that perfect run.
Okay, next rider in is Felix Prangenberg, qualified in 3rd place. The German has been riding simple session for longer than most. Still looking for a win here.
Felix is a guy, he could come out and really upset the field here with a big win.
Yeah, best position since it's been a dedicated street event was 8th. And I always feel like he's worth a little bit more than that.
Well, you're absolutely right. I mean, this guy was the Nora Cup Reader's Choice for 2018. So the secret's out. Everyone knows he's a great, great biker. Showing that truck driver down the Euro gap. Look at the speed that he's at. He's going a little bit faster than just about everyone else we've seen so far. Showing you that tooth hanger. There's that double peg, the hard way 360, launching the beanie. Oh, 540 bar spin on a wedge.
Okay, halfway through the run. And he's really starting to turn it up now.
Yeah, he's got a great run going, being really consistent, doing a lot of difficult tricks. Wow.
So often you see the 180s and someone will drift away from the transition, but he actually met that right at the very top.
Yeah, he planned that out so perfect.
Okay.
Bar over the rail.
2 seconds, 1 second.
Okay, this one almost certainly won't count, but he keeps it clean, not a foot down for Felix Prangenberg on his first run. Pretty special.
Right, and you can hear Daryl now talking in the arena. That was a full pull from Felix Prangenberg.
You don't think it was, that wasn't scaled back anywhere for first run. He wanted to set a benchmark score.
That's the run that he probably wanted out of either one of his 2 runs, but now that he's got that one in the bank, what more can we look forward to for the second run? It's only going to get better from here.
We can really start to see him play.
Yeah. 180 on, going backwards, 180 tail up off.
The front wheel meeting the transition right at the very top.
Oh yeah, picture perfect.
Okay, so Felix Prangenberg is waiting on what most people expect to be a very good score, and it is enough for first place. 88.2. Felix Prangenberg moves into the lead with just 2 riders left to drop at the Simple Session 19 BMX Street Finals. A couple of shout-outs from the crowd there. So, no Rim Nakamura. Oh no, he's in park. That would help. Got my sheet mixed up there.
You know, I bet Rim could hang.
I bet you could.
But right now the course belongs to Matt Ray. Coming out of Massachusetts, doing it for New England. This is one of those guys, it never looks like he's trying. He does the hardest stuff with the calmest demeanor. First came to Simple Session as a 16-year-old. Did pretty well. Not as well as he would have liked, but look, he's up on the high perch there, and I love the way he comes into his run, the way he drops into it. Check him out right here. There's that 270 bar in to start his run. Already a different line than what we've seen so far from anybody else. And I love the way he does that opposite downside whip on that wedge because he continues going up. Oh my gosh. Bar spin to turn down on the catwalk quarter pipe there. Oh, bar catch bar 180 over the volcano into a flare on virtually just a wedge. Oh man, 180 on, 180 bars out.
Tricks are coming thick and fast in this run.
He makes it look so easy. Bar catch bar 360 coming in fakie. Showing you the Smith grind as well. Bar into the ice. Let's see how he ended up here. 360 tail whip to fakie, and he makes it all look so easy. Tooth hanger, wow.
Desperate to go through the replays on this because, like you say, there are tricks in there, insanely technical tricks that look like he's got them on rails. There's not a doubt in your mind that he's going to make them.
No, it's as if him and the bike are just one, and they're just working together in perfect harmony. I mean, that was a full pull. He used every second of that run to his advantage. Used the course in a different way than we're used to seeing. Check that out. 270 bar spin in, tail up over the hump right there. And I love how he does these downside opposite tail ups. Watch the way he continues to go up there, whereas a lot of guys are still falling. Bar, catch bar, 180. Brings it right around, shows you the flare on the wedge. We're used to seeing that trick on the quarter pipe.
This was the one I was watching. Double bar spin, 360.
Coming in fakie. And it's so risky to go fakie in the middle of a run like that. 360 tail whip to fakie, landing backwards. I mean, at the end of your run, too, where he's super tired. And again, makes it all look so easy.
Okay, so waiting on the score for Matt Ray. Last rider to drop in the first runs. And I think this is going to be a big one. 88.2 to beat. Felix Prangenberg has the top spot at the moment, 83.8. So it's good enough for second for Matt Ray, but he's got to improve on that if he wants to chase down Prangenberg in run 2. So let's take a look at those overall standings. Felix Prangenberg in first, Matt Ray 5 points behind. In second, Justin Spreet poised in third position. Still could attack very, very potently from third place. Down the bottom there, Alex Kennedy and Lewis Mills. I mean, right down the bottom there, all of those riders could push up, but Lewis Mills especially, you'd expect to see him really pouncing up the standings.
Yeah, you know he's going to come back strong with a second run score.
Okay, going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have second runs. Welcome back to Simple Session 19. We're here for BMX Street. We're going to go into BMX Park in a little while, but we've got second runs still to come in BMX Street, and that will decide our winner. At the moment, we've got Felix Prangenberg out in front on 88.2, and a surprise score there, for me especially, Chris, 83.8 for Matt Ray. I thought that score was going to be push Prangenberg maybe a little bit more.
Well, my only explanation to that is Felix Prangenberg did a lot more natural style street tricks, whereas we saw Matt Ray doing a lot of ramp tricks. So I think the judges might be just being a little bit strict on that, like stick to the street stuff, stick to the ledges, the wedges, the rails, and not necessarily the quarter pipes.
Don't give in to the temptation of transition.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, you can see all of the boys lining up for second runs there. One of them is Courage Adams at the end there. We can take a look from his perspective with this GoPro run through the course.
Here at Simple Session 2019.
What's up, guys? This is Corey Walsh, and this is the GoPro course preview. Yo, Courage, show us that street course.
There was that nose manual that we were looking for and that Courage was looking for on his first run. Unfortunately, we're not going to see Corey Walsh in the park finals later on. He didn't quite make the cut, but Max Ciprina ready to kick us off for our second run in BMX Street here. And he was the score by which everyone else was measured, 75.4. And it's not going to take an awful lot for him to jump up. 5 points will see him go straight into the top 4. So Max Ciprina can definitely do some moves here.
Yeah, and like I keep alluding to, I keep saying that he's very, very consistent. I feel like if he goes a little bit faster, maybe tries a little bit harder, he could really break into that top 5 spot.
Yeah, there's an 80 in there waiting to get out. He just needs to light it up a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, check him out. He's already changed up the run a little bit. He knows he's got a decent score, and he can definitely improve on that, and I think he's going for it right now.
Fakey 540.
Out of the link, out of the rail, he did the hard way, 180 bar spin out of. Check him out, truck driver out of our catwalk. Just eyeing up the rail here. Goes up, there's that double peg. Slips the pedals on the tail whip.
And you almost get the feeling, especially with a tail whip like that, his mind's on the next trick already.
Yeah, and like I keep saying, I mean, it's very uncharacteristic of him to like miss a tail whip like that, because he's usually so consistent, usually does not mess up. And you know what, he's probably just tired. It's been a long weekend. Lots of partying going on with the Simple Session crew here. I mean, these guys go hard every single day and every single night.
Okay, so Max Ciprina, Chris Doyle's verdict is that maybe stamina's got the better of him there. Long week at Simple Session has taken its toll. And the Russian certainly had the ability. That was beautiful.
That was a great length. The hard way 180 bars out of the double peg, kept it going backwards, then a 540 into the quarter. Truck driver in off the catwalk. And why do so many of these street riders run mustaches, do you think?
I think it's an aesthetic.
Okay.
It's definitely, I think in certain circles, the moustache is the mark of an artiste.
All right. Well, I was wrong in assuming that Max had a mustache on his face, because it certainly looked like it there for a second. So I apologize, Max.
Yeah, I think Max and Mark Burnett, who you can see both of them there, might fall into the as yet able to grow a moustache category. They're both pretty baby-faced. Here's another man who's not rocking a moustache yet, Lewis Mills. A lot of pressure on this lad now. And it's over before it begins for what Justin Spreet called the brightest young thing in BMX Street at the moment. One of the most talented riders out there, but it's often the case when you get a big result like that silver at X Games in Sydney, all of the publicity, all of the attention those results bring can often weigh pretty heavily on young shoulders, and it takes a bit of time to get comfortable with that and find your feet again. Lewis would have turned up here. It's a big crowd, big stadium arena event, and
yeah, you see him getting the hug from Boyd Hilder, one of his friends back in Australia. And that is, it's strange to see him mess up like that, because in qualifying, he was doing the bar into the double peg and then hard way 180 bar out just every time. And he made it look like clockwork, like it was nothing. But, you know, this won't be his last simple session. He'll be back next year, and I'm sure the years to come. But
he might even, it might be the simple session effect that you were talking about as well. He's learned his lesson this year. Maybe slow down a little bit on Friday, then a little bit more on Saturday night. Jiří Blábal from the Czech Republic dropping in now. He's got a 300 horsepower BMW 3 Series that he loves more than life itself. Almost as much as BMXing, and he's got about the same amount of power watching his riding.
Oh yeah, he's a big kid. I mean, you see his arms, you see his forearms. I mean, he's a tough-looking guy. He's an intimidating-looking guy. When I saw him in Latvia, I was like, wow, who's that guy? But he's actually as nice as can be, and he's a really great bike rider, as you can already see.
Did you say he's got arms like legs?
Exactly right, 25. Yeah, a lot of pop, a lot of power. Loves to do some bar spins, and he can throw a bar spin into or out of just about anything.
Currently in 11th on a 66.2.
Steps off a little bit there, going for that bar to crank arm. Got the chain all fixed up, back around his neck. 180 tail over a tiny wedge. Let's see what he's got. Coming to the end of his run. There's that ice to hard way 180 out at the end of his run.
Beautiful from Jiří Blábal, but the 1 foot down. We've seen it. I think he can move up. The 66.2 is definitely going to be improved upon.
But yeah, I mean, and I keep saying it, but we're seeing how strict the judges are being on perfection. And speaking of perfection, that up rail to opposite 180 out. There's the hard way 360 out of the double peg. 180 tail over a small wedge. So yeah, you know, in Latvia, I think he was riding at his best. Maybe, you know, being outdoor in the sunshine was helping him a lot, but I mean, it's awesome to have him here at Simple Session here in Estonia.
3rd place at Summer Session. It's its first time out. 73, there you go. 10th place for Jiří Blábal. But second run score, he's not going to move anywhere, and there is the chance for Anthony Perrin to move up. Right now, though, we're going to Alex Kennedy, AK, kid from Croydon.
Yeah, I would certainly say that Alex Kennedy is more of a video type of rider as opposed to being a contest rider, but he can still hang, as we can see. We see him in the finals here. Check him out. Toboggan to Smith down that ledge. He loves doing that. Going over tooth. Oh. And you know, when I talk about the video parts, a lot of these guys really focus more on the video part side of things, more so than the contest, because there's not as many contests that go around for street riders, so they really have to focus on getting those good videos out for the people to see, and Alex Kennedy has certainly released so many great videos for all of us to enjoy.
I love that transfer up.
Yeah, and it's really fun to see a guy like Alex riding ramps. I mean, we're so used to seeing him ride street, but it's really cool to know that he can still do all those ramp tricks as well. Oh. He was going downside Smith across that quarter pipe, and he actually pulled it in our best trick competition. So I've seen him do it, but I mean, it's such a gamble and it's such a big drop, but we know that he's capable of doing it, just maybe not in this contest run.
Okay, the guy from Croydon who loves to ride and Clapham is going to have to put this run down to experience as well. Currently in 7th.
And the thing about Alex Kennedy is he always looks unique. His bike always looks unique. He always looks a little bit different than the rest of the field, and he always brings something a little bit different to the table. But unfortunate for Alex, had that little slip up there, and he's going to settle for that first run score, which was a 76, keeping him in 7th place.
Yeah, it's an interesting frame combination, isn't it? I'd call that magenta and gold with the rims.
Oh yeah, and that's one of his more mellow setups that I've seen him ride. They're usually a little bit more loud.
Okay, Justin Spreed, ready to go. And that, you've got to say, I mean, the rims on this bike, that's one of my favorite colors, that kind of mint or jade. But right now, the moustache is outshining the rims, for sure.
Well, we saw his first run score. He's still in 3rd place right now, so he could have a little bit of fun with this run and maybe try some things that he's really wanted to try all weekend. It's going to be interesting to see how he approaches this run, but look how stoic he is. He never looks like he's under pressure, never looks like he's trying too hard. There's that crooked to 180 bar out.
Tire slide.
Wow, 180 crooked grind, 180 bar spin out. I mean, he's so clean and consistent with those crooked grinds, especially going backwards and forwards, and he's got such a good bar spin that he rarely ever misses those bars once he throws them. Put out a part in his in the Fit video a few years ago where he's riding a lot of trails, which is, you know, it's such a contrast from riding street, but just so everyone knows, he can ride a little bit of everything. He's a really talented bike rider. He could probably hang in our park competition as well.
Oh! He went down pretty hard there.
Unfortunate for Justin. He had such a good run going, but he was going for that bar spin to opposite ice pick. You see him being helped off the course by our paramedics. He's on his feet, he's walking, he was probably just really tired. You know, missed that ice pick just a little bit, trying to grab onto the handlebars. And but it was at the end of his run. I'll be interested to see how much that actually counts against him. There's that crooked grind up, 180 bars out. So clean and consistent with that trick at all times. And there's a version on the flat rail as well. And I think it's funny how he always looks so stoic. It never looks like he's under any kind of pressure, under any kind of stress. Just goes out there and does his thing. There's that 180 opposite feeble, pulling it back over, backwards, forwards. He had a little bit of everything in that run.
Okay, so the medics, thankfully, very, very quick to their feet. No one sitting around eating cream buns there. Justin Spreed looking all right. He doesn't even look like he's hobbling at the moment, so... Oh, little grimace there. So currently in 3rd place, and he will not better his score. 66.8 for Justin's 2nd run. So next rider in from France, Anthony Perrin. Very calm, very technical, and very French. That means suave and sophisticated, Chris.
Absolutely. That is not a diss by any means. I always enjoy having a conversation with Anthony. He's a really easygoing guy, very easy to chat with, very humble too. Showing you that 180 bar spin up. Great start already for Anthony Perrin. He's a guy that can really be a threat for that top 3 if he can just keep it together.
Well, you mentioned earlier that he gets real competition nerves, and it's difficult to believe when you see someone with this riding ability that they're going to get nervous, but it is a factor for him.
Well, we just saw that huge 360 over the sub box into the wedge. Big ice pick up the rail, 180 out. Halfway through his run, he's got a great run going. Showing the tooth hanger to 180 out on the flat rail. I mean, so far this is so much better than his first run. He hasn't messed up a single bit yet. Just has to keep it together, keep the hard tricks flowing. Little nose wheelie on that round rail. And I don't know if he's just going to settle for some easier tricks at this point or what, because he knows that he has such a good run going.
He was definitely trying to link those 2 rails.
And that is a time. Let me hear one more time.
Trying to end with the bar spin, ice pick, the 180. But that was after the buzzer had already gone off, so I wonder if that's going to count against him. I don't think it is, but you see the smile on his face. He knows that he put in a full pull. That was a really good run for Anthony Perrin.
Very, very strong. One slight dip. There was a point there, I think, at around 45, 50 seconds when he pulled out a couple of pot boilers in a row, what by his standards would be relatively basic tricks.
Right.
But like you said, he got through the whole run really, really clean. Currently sat in 11th, so he's moving up no matter what.
Yeah, I would definitely say that's an improvement upon his first run score.
If he wants top 3, he's got to go to 82.4. If he wants the top spot, he's got to be 88.2. Don't think we're heading quite that high, but top 3 maybe? No, 77.3, so good enough for 7th, and that gives you an idea just how tightly packed everyone is in those middle spots. Between 80 and 74, so 6 points, that is what separates 4th and 10th. Next in, Bruno Hoffmann, 2nd place here in Simple Session 2018.
Well, man, like I said before about Bruno, he loves to land fake. He's very consistent with landing backwards and keeping his run going. Showing you the opposite ice pick down the ledge. Take him out here, over toothpick. Really good friends with Dan Lacey, who I know is watching right now. Those guys have put out so many heavy edits together, and they're always traveling together. You always hear them in the background of each other's clips. Trying to go for that predator grind, just messes it up a little bit. He's off his rhythm a little bit right now. Let's see if he can make up for it. He hasn't touched the ground with his feet yet, so maybe he can make up for that. There's that crooked grind to 180. That's an opposite 180 out of that. And for as easy as he makes it look, the judges know that that's an opposite 180 for him. The judges are very in tune with what's going on.
Linking those two, rail and box.
There's that opposite ice. Looks like he wanted a little something out of it. And that's going to be time for Bruno Hoffmann. I don't think that was a better run than his first run, but still, I mean, always awesome to see Bruno out here. And again, I mean, he's still so young, but he seems like he's been around for such a long time, just because when you get started at 14, 15 years old, and you start making a name for yourself, even at the age of 23, 24, 25, it already seems like you're the elder statesman of the crew.
Well, he's been around for a decade. He's 25 and he's been around for a decade. That's the reality.
Right, right. And he'll probably be around for another decade.
Most definitely.
Yeah, you could tell he wanted a little bit more out of that opposite ice pick, but you know, always great to see Bruno out here. Always loves coming to Simple Session, loves the nightlife, always has a good time.
So, 4th place at the moment. No shortage of great riders waiting just below him, though, to see if they can unseat him. 76.4 for that second run. Not enough to better that 80.2. So now we move back down to the course where Brock Rayford is waiting for us.
Brock Rayford is trying to get some people out of the way because he's got some big plans for this run. He is really excited to be here. He's, like I told you before, he's rehabbing that knee. He's been trying to get it strong again. He recently put out a really heavy video part in the Ride Headlights video. So even though he's been out with knee surgery, he still has content that's been coming out all over the web and in a full-length video part as well.
Okay, gently cranking up the quarter to get speed.
180 bars into the Euro, pulls it right back around. There's that tooth over tooth again. That's like a Brock original right there. He's the only guy doing that. Check him out. Bar spin over the sub. I love it. This is the run that he wanted in that first run. He's on course and he's making things happen. No bobbles yet. There's that double peg up, hard way 360 out. Like I said, that's the best hard way 360 you're going to see in this entire contest. Ooh, coming in double tire on the spine, bar spin in, using the park course in a street way. This is a great run so far for Brock Rayford. There's that strength pulling up onto that rail from flat. He's got about 5 seconds left here. He's got to get this last trick in if he wants it to count. There's a double peg. Pulling over hard way, 360 over the rail. That's a full pull for Brock Rayford right there. And there's that 360 nose bonk over our dig volcano. And that's how you do a street run. That's the run that Brock wanted.
It looked as if he'd almost unplugged his stress once he'd landed that final trick. He went straight into the volcano, completely relaxed and really enjoyed himself. But big, heavy run from Brock Rayford. Let's go through. Kicked off with this beautiful little combo through the Euro gap.
I love the bar over the sub into the wedge. Showing you the truck driver fly out. And it was like each trick he started building upon more and more. He was getting more and more comfortable. That's certainly the run that he wanted when he got to Estonia.
I love that. It's like having a little bit of Danny McCaskill in the middle of the course, the transfer up, isn't it, onto that spine.
Yeah, and look at the smile, just the relief, like he got the run that he wanted.
Okay, waiting for his score. Brock Rayford currently sat in 6th on a 78.6. Where are you going with this one?
I'm putting him in the top 3 for now, and we'll see what the judges think.
Okay, top 3, he needs 82.4. He's got 82.2. Oh, brutally close. Tully's down there with him now.
Well, congratulations, such a powerful run. I mean, we were talking before, you told me you're going to turn up the intensity a little bit, and you definitely did. Can you tell me how you feel about your after run?
I feel great about my runs. I came here and got done what I needed to do. Like, I came off an injury, so I'm just out here trying to do my best for myself and for my family, and what better way than to pull 2 solid runs.
Well, you did great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, Brock Rayford, philosophical about that, but could have gone a little bit higher maybe. Next in, we've got Mark Burnett. It's his 3rd time here at Simple Session. Stop screaming at the TV, Mark's mum. He can't hear you. That's from Dig BMX. Hashtag Simple Session. If anyone else has got anything to add to the conversation, please chuck it up on social media. We will find it. Thank you, Dig BMX.
Well, I got to give a shout out to Sue Burnett, who's been very supportive of Mark and his career. Oh, look, they're pulling hard way into that Smith. Oh, he's flowing now. I like what we're seeing here, Ed. There's that nose to bar. Only one doing that line. Feeble, hard way, 360 out. This is the run that Mark wanted.
Oh, sat into that little stall.
Yeah, and I gotta say, doing a bar spin, the tail tap doesn't look like it's super hard, but he's using all balance on that. He can't use any crank arm pressure because he's running a free coaster, and he can't use any brakes because, well, like everyone else in the street competition, he's brakeless.
So, Mark Burnett, one of those riders that we've seen grow year on year here at Simple Session, and this is no exception.
Taking a page out of Brock Rayford's book with that line right there, gapping up onto the spine, bar spin out. Oh, here we go again. Went over double peg this time. I can't tell if he stepped off it or not, but I don't think the judges can tell either.
Yeah. If we haven't seen it, they haven't seen it. So sell it when you come around the other side, Mark. Just be like, yes! Claim it all. Courage Adams taking a roll around the course. He's going to go and get ready for his run, but Mark Burnett is going to sit tight and wait for the scores. That was a very, very impressive run.
That was a great run from Mark Burnett. That's the run that he wanted. Showing you the technique, getting on top of that flat rail right there, that flat ledge, pulling off hard way 360, bonking the back tire. He's the only one we see doing that, bonking that back tire, 360 over the ledge.
It was like watching a different rider in the way he approached the course, wasn't it? It was relaxed and slow. Whatever he did in between those 2 runs worked.
Yeah, absolutely. Saying hi to mom at home. Like I said, Sue's always been so supportive of Mark and his career, and she's always very fun to talk to at all the events. So,
at this stage, I think Sue's getting more shout-outs than Mark. Okay, nervous wait for all the Burnetts. The ones here and the ones back in upstate New York. I think it's Slingerland, isn't it? Hometown?
When I first met Mark, it was in Albany, New York, and I just assumed that that's where he was from, but I don't know the exact name of his hometown, but yeah, he's definitely an upstate New York guy.
Okay, 81 for Mark Burnett on. That log jam just below the podium spots is getting tighter and tighter. Bruno Hoffman on 80.2, Burnett on 81, Brock Rayford on 82.2, Justin Spreet on 82.4. Next in, we're with Courage Adams. Let's take a look at what he's capable of when it comes to nose manuals.
Well, yeah, look at the balance, look at the control. He's the only guy you would see doing something like this in our final anyways. I mean, check him out. He's using his crank arm pressure to go backwards. A lot of guys have the free coaster now, and he's using all crank arm pressure. Oh my gosh. Bar spin, into a nose jam with no brakes, all balance, all strength, all power. And then we saw him do that in his run. Bar spin to manual to 360.
Okay, Courage Adams ready for a very precious minute of his life now.
Courage is really the last guy that can crack into that top 3 right now.
Yeah, currently in 7th.
And look what we have going here. This started with a bar spin to tail tap, and he's been on the back wheel ever since. Check him out. He's about to go backwards, down the slope. Oh!
And it's like he resets it from there. That entire combo is gone now.
Yeah, is he going to go back to the start and try it again?
Go on.
Because at this point, you're just doing it for the fans here. The judges have to judge him accordingly, but check him out.
But it's pretty crazy when you're doing like a 30-second trick. You're rolling the dice, half of your run on one trick.
Yeah.
If it goes wrong, like you say, there's no rebate. There's no coming back from that.
Not in a contest format when you have to be so consistent. You can't have any kind of bobbles. And unfortunate for him, he had to come off the back, but he's still going for it for the crowd here in Tallinn, Estonia at the Saku Arena. Just showing you all that balance.
Oh, unbelievable.
Check him out. The longer he goes, the louder the crowd gets. It's looking good, Ed. And there we have it.
Oh. And that's the thing. Even the judges are applauding up there.
Yeah. And that's the loudest we've heard the crowd get all day.
And for good reason. That was absolutely phenomenal.
Right. Well,
we did actually time that last one. It's a 20-second trick. So you could get 3 tricks in if it really worked.
So we know that he's not going to have the best score because of that, but hey, sometimes you don't worry about your score anymore. You do it for the crowd. You do it for the people at home that are watching that want to see what Courage Adams is capable of.
Okay, so that only leaves 2 riders. Right now we've got Felix Prangenberg, who's currently occupying the top spot, will not get the luxury of a victory lap because the man who's going to drop after him is currently in 2nd, Matt Ray. They're separated by 5 points, so Felix has got a good buffer. Interesting to see what score Courage Adams can get for just one run. 48.8 for one trick. So if he'd have done 3 tricks.
Okay, for a little quiz at home, how many face piercings does Felix Prangenberg have?
Are we counting ears on face?
I believe so.
I don't know, your ears are on your face, they're on your head, aren't they?
The correct answer, Ed, is 4.
Okay.
But that's not what is important right now. He is our current leader, starting off the 180 tail up into the wedge.
Punchy.
Oh, I love this right here. Double peg, 450 into the wedge.
And you said he's making that look pretty easy, but the pull he needs on that to make it work.
Yeah, absolutely. And he makes it look so easy. Oh my gosh, that's an opposite double peg up and opposite hard way 360 out. Wow, really impressive. Oh my gosh, 540 over the A-frame rail. And he runs into a photographer there. I wonder if the judges are going to take mercy on him for that. I mean, because that really wasn't his fault. And he almost takes out one of our cameramen as well. Just doing damage to the media right now.
I don't know, I reckon he's got an eye for an angle. He knows what looks good.
Yeah.
Oh! Okay. He's got the luxury of being able to call that. He doesn't need to push at this stage. He is 4.6 points ahead of Matt Ray at the moment, which means he can sit tight. It's going to be a nervous wait, though, with someone as talented as Matt Ray ready to drop now.
And it's going to be interesting to see how Matt Ray changes things up. Is he going to do the same run? Because he knows that he can do no worse than 2nd place.
Is that 450 off?
Yeah, I love it right there. Double peg to 450. He's the only guy really using that like a bank to sub. That's all opposite right there. That's opposite pegs up, opposite hard way, 360 out. That's a tongue twister right there for sure.
Okay, so Felix Prangenberg, kid from Rolfbach, 70K out of Cologne, 80.9. And that 80.9 would have been good enough for 6th place. had that been it, but he will take his first run score of 88.2, and that is the number that this man now has to beat. Last person to drop in BMX Street Finals, Matt Ray. Been out for 2 years, back now in a final and battling out. He's guaranteed a podium spot, he's guaranteed second place, but can he up that now? He saw an 83.8 from him first run score.
Well, he's certainly capable. It looks like he's starting off his run in the same way that he has been all weekend, showing you the 270 bar spin in. I think if he adds a few more street elements to this run, it's really going to help him out. He could really be a threat to that top spot. As you can see right now, he's been sticking to more of the park aspects of the course. But again, I mean, he's so consistent. And again, see, he's back on the park course. Whereas we saw Felix Prangenberg in Felix's first run, he was like all rails, all ledges, all wedges.
Oh!
All right, well, he had to step off. We know how much that can hurt the rider now. 180 on, 180 bar out.
We're going to need a best trick here to salvage this run, something truly breathtaking. It's no longer about consistency. If you really want this, Matt, then you've got to throw down now.
Yeah, he's sticking to the same run. He's sticking to what he knows. Sometimes it's hard to switch it up. I mean, he's been doing this all weekend. So, oh,
that was mint.
Well, more of a park trick there as well. 360 bar spin to turn down, coming in fakie. And, you know, I don't think that's going to be enough to unseat Felix.
No, we've seen it throughout the contest. Any kind of bail, it has to be clean. That is exactly what we saw from Felix Prangenberg on his first run. Truly, truly breathtaking. Matt Ray giving it his best shot on his second and final run. It's interesting looking at how exhausted these guys are now. And we talked about earlier on that third run that used to be in there, and you can't imagine it now. The intensity of these runs.
Right, 1 minute long runs. It doesn't sound like much, but trust me, that's exhausting. But again, I mean, gosh, so impressive. You know, I bet Matt could really hang in a park contest as well, because you see how well he can ride ramps. And you know, he's from the Northeast United States, so he's riding a lot of indoor ramps all winter long. So he might not have the luxury of riding so many street setups, but still, I mean, second place is still very impressive for Matt Ray.
Okay, he's on selfie duties now. Second place from the man from the Northeast. Doesn't look too frustrated by it. Let's take a look at the overall standings though. Felix Prangenberg, the German, up there, 88.2, taking his first ever Simple Session Street Final win. He's the only person apart from Garrett Reynolds to have one of those. Matt Ray in second, Justin Spreet in third. Mark Burnett down there in fifth. That's a very respectable position too, and Mark continues his ascent up the rankings year on year. Courage Adams, bit of a surprise potentially, down in seventh. And then Alex Kennedy, would have liked to have seen him a bit further up. It just never lined up for him. Same for Lewis Mills. We're going to be back right after this break. We're going to pull these street finals apart, and we're going to look at how BMX Park is lining up. We'll see you there.
So I'm standing here with our legendary BMX host, Daryl now. Daryl, you've been coming back for Simple Session for 8 years now. So if you can comment on 2019, what would that be?
I don't know how they do it, but every year it gets better and better and better. So for everyone around the world, I want to see you here in 2020.
One thing that gets better every year is your outfit. I mean, you look so smart. Every single time I see you, you just blow our mind. Where do you get all these clothes?
You are quite the charmer, but since this is the party for BMX and skating, you gotta dress for the room. So I always bring something a little bit special to match the energy of the fans and the riders out there, but thank you for the kind words.
Thank you so much, and back to you guys in the studio.
Always a treat to get a glimpse of the walking encyclopedia of BMX that is Daryl now. We're in the mid-show now, in between street and park, so we've got two riders from each of those disciplines. Daniel's got to get down to the course pretty quickly, so we're going to set off with you. Daniel, first of all, big difference between street and park. What is it?
Oh man, it's so different. So like in street, you use more of the rails. You try to do, jumps to flat. You do more ledges, more stuff like that. In park, you try to do more of the jumps, like the box jump and the spine, and so it might involve more of like, aerial tricks. While in street, it's way more technical. And dude, it's so different. Like I don't understand how these guys do what they do, man.
Before you go, I know you've got to get down for practice, but you've made some modifications to your bike, haven't you?
Yeah, so recently I got a titanium frame. So I talked to Mike Lair and I got a Lair frame. And it's crazy because like I had light bikes before, but the material feels like you float. So like, when people ask me about it, it's very controversial in the world of BMX, but so far I haven't had an issue. I've been riding it for like over 2 months. And yeah, it feels great. So I'm stoked to give it a shot here at Simple Session.
Okay, I'm going to let you get out of here. Good luck. Hopefully we'll see you later on.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. And congrats, Felix. Thank you. Bye, see you.
Okay, Felix, we're going to come to you in a second, but before we do, we're going to take a look back at the top 3 runs from BMX Street. The contest has just gone down, and it was very, very hot riding. So in third place, overall impression from you, Chris, what did you make of it?
Well, overall, I thought it was a great competition. We had Justin Spreet, who's a guy that can ride just about anything. Really smooth, looked really good, really comfortable, showing you those crooked grinds, so 180 bars out. He was really consistent all weekend long. Then, of course, we had Matt Ray just showing you so many consistent maneuvers. I love the way he was dropping in with that 270 bar every single time. I think if he had a little bit more street elements in his run, he would have done a little bit better. But hey, second place is nothing to be upset about them. Of course, we have our man Felix Prangenberg showing you that 180 bar, showing you that 540 on the wedge. There's that hard way 360 out of the double peg. He was clean, he was consistent virtually the whole day. 540 up and over the A-frame rail, taking out the photographer. He had an eye out for all the cameramen. Then that opposite pegs up, opposite 360 hard way out. Nothing but clean, consistent riding from Felix.
Felix, that must have been wonderful. Must have felt so good.
I'm so happy that everything worked out. Still can't believe it. I'm speechless. I don't know. I'm buzzing.
Now, did you know after your first run that you could probably sit back a little bit thinking you had such a higher score than everybody else, you could kind of take it easy a little bit, maybe have some fun out there on the course and try some things that you weren't necessarily comfortable with?
I already had fun in the first run, and like everyone killed it, and everyone can do, everyone could have won that contest, and I don't know, didn't even realize or didn't wanted to realize it. I just wanted to have another great run and try my best, but I was pretty sure that someone else was gonna get a higher score.
Well, as you guys see, he's very modest, but from what we saw, you absolutely destroyed the competition. Take us through that one trick. You went up rail, opposite pegs, pulled hard way out, 360, and you made it look so easy.
That's actually a switch-footed peg shot 360, but so it looks like an opposite one.
Well, then forgive me, guys. As you can see, it's so technical. Street riding has just reached that point where you have to really be on it to know what's going on. As he was just saying, he was switching his feet around, he's spinning in both directions, he's using both sides of the bike, and those are the types of elements that you need to get to the top of the podium, much like yourself. Now, what are you going to do tonight?
Definitely going to party.
As is customary here at Simple Session. Congratulations, this is your first Simple Session win.
Yeah, that's my first one. I don't know, I'm stoked. Sorry, I can't talk much. Sorry.
No, you're the first person ever to win who isn't Garrett Reynolds, so you can take that one, put it in your pocket. Okay, we're now moving on to BMX Park, and we've got 2 Australians who've made the journey over to Estonia. These are the Aussies on tour. We sent them to a disused Soviet prison. Very comfortable.
I'm really happy to be back here in Estonia. Wasn't expecting to be in a prison.
First timer, never been to the snow before. Now I'm in the snow in an abandoned prison. Like, I don't know, it's kind of creepy. We've seen like a surgery table before, and yeah, I didn't really know what to think about it. But yeah, this place is sick. It's definitely up there for the weirdest place I've ever ridden, for sure.
Oh, it's very important to have my homie right by my side. I don't really feel like I'm away from home.
Oh, it's definitely comforting, like, just to get to experience it with a mate. Like, you remember it better times.
Boyd's an all-rounder. He just drops jaws everywhere he goes. Really talented rider. Stylish, looks good, makes BMX look great.
Oh, Alex, he's wild. I don't know, he just thinks of stuff on the spot. He doesn't really think it through and just goes for it, and 3/4 of the time gets it done. Like, it's always awesome to watch him ride.
It just happens naturally, like, just from the obstacles. You hit one and then that leads you into another one, and you sort of just work with what you got.
Style is the most important thing. Do your own little twist on every trick, make it look nice, and do what makes you happy. What's up, guys? We're out here for day 2 of our talent adventure. We're here to snowbike.
Yeah, it was wild. I've never been in the snow before, but it kind of felt natural like a bike, but kind of didn't, but it was fun.
I've always watched him session from a kid, always wanted to come, finally made it out here, and then yeah, the course is just always insane.
It's my first time riding the street comp, so I'm pretty excited, something new. Just express how you're feeling in that present time, and this course has a lot of unique obstacles. So this contest is going to be good for me to try the street out, but park, I'm excited to ride both.
Drop it, move it, move it. We the life of the party, yeah. The party, we the life of the party, yeah. Ooh, yeah, the party.
My goal is to win it, yeah, and yeah, just see what happens.
I'm pretty much just take it as it comes, do what I can, and hopefully get up the top there.
We the life of the party.
So the disappointing news after watching that is that Alex Hyam, competing in street and park, hasn't made it through to the finals in park. Do you think he bit off more than he could chew?
Well, it's got to be exhausting when you're riding 2 disciplines such as Alex was. And in his defense, he had a lot of bike malfunctions in the street contest. And like he said in that piece right there, this was his first ever street contest. So this is the first time he gave it a go. So we can't be too hard on Alex. Now, in park, they were all about perfection. He had a few bobbles here and there, but his counterpart, his mate there, Boyd Hilder, is in our park final, so we're going to definitely be seeing Boyd Hilder. But both of those guys are so talented.
I've heard you talking about Boyd Hilder. He's one of your dark horses, isn't he?
Boyd Hilder not only is my favorite to win this contest, he might be one of my favorite bike riders right now in general. I mean, he's one of the new young up-and-comers. He's just picked up a few new sponsors, so he's really making a lot of waves in BMX right now.
Okay, we'll take a closer look at him later on. But qualifiers went down yesterday. We were cutting down nearly 50 riders to just 12. It was a battlefield out there, but we can take a look at the 3 best runs that we saw yesterday. It was phenomenal. So Daniel Dares, we've just had him on the show, came in third. He's now, without Ryan Nyquist, the elder statesman of BMX Park.
He is the oldest guy in the park competition, which is so crazy to think about. But you know what? I think he really utilizes that, and he uses his experience to help him form better runs, to do better tricks. I mean, you can see he's conditioned, he's got the hard tricks, and he's still got what it takes to perhaps be on the top of the podium here at Simple Session.
Okay, then we've got Rim Nakamura, actually named by his dad after the bike part, which shows you just how deep BMX runs in his family.
Absolutely. I mean, Rim was on fire yesterday, and he's our youngest competitor. He's only 16 years old, and he's always got a smile on his face. He had a few bobbles actually yesterday, and he still ended up in that second place position.
I've talked about him a little bit, but it feels like he's a much older man than he is the way he rides his bike. But we've got to talk about Irek Rizaev, the Russian. Second place here last year, and he absolutely took this place to pieces.
He's been knocking on the door at every Simple Session that he comes to, and he's really making a lot of waves for himself. I mean, the Russian rider is really talented. He looks really hungry. I know he would really love to hold on to that first place position.
Okay, that is what BMX Park looked like from the judges' perspective. They chose those three men to be top spot, but this is, I think, probably the most hard-fought trophy of the day. There are 12 men waiting to throw down, and one man is in charge of splitting them up. It's the head judge, Bart de Jong. Tully's with him now.
So, Bart, you have one of the toughest jobs today. BMX Street is over, Park is next. Can you walk us through the judging criteria?
Yeah, there's a lot that the judges are looking for. It's style, it's the tricks that they do, you know, how new they are, like where they do them, how creative they ride, the flow. There's a lot, everything is packed into one score. And in park and in street also, it was in the finals his best run counts. So the riders can go for it. If it doesn't work out the first go, they have a second chance in the second run. But it's an overall impression, and the judges are looking for the best runs possible. At least amount of crashes, at least amount of depths with the foot or the hands. You know, it's an overall impression.
So when you need to compare judging those both disciplines, what are the differences?
Well, basically it's more the terrain than the judging. It's the street riders ride the rails, the ledges, like a different section on the course more than the park riders. The park riders like to ride the big transitions, and then they jump the jump box, which the street riders haven't touched. But still, like, it's the same criteria that count for street as well as for park.
Well, thanks a lot.
Oh, you're welcome.
Back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Tully. Good luck, Bart. I think you're going to need it over the course of the next 2 hours. 12 men ready to throw down. What's the format for this event?
Well, it's like you were saying, I certainly don't envy these judges by any means. The format is very similar to what we saw in street. These 12 riders have 2 runs, best 1 run counts. And it's like we saw in street. Anything can happen. These guys, if they blow their first run, they put all the pressure on that second run. Come out on the first run, get a good score, sit pretty, maybe take some chances in the second run. I don't know, but that's the main thing you got to remember. These guys have only 2 runs, and 1 counts. Keep that in mind.
Okay, the way this course is built, it's absolutely vast, and in part people are travelling around it very, very quickly. That instantly makes line choice one of the premium factors in a solid run. We've got a little clip here. Chris drew some lines around on the iPad. Can you walk us through these? These are the runs that you think will make good points.
Well, I think it's all about how you get in and out of our Visit Estonia ramp spine area. Look how the riders are jumping in and how they're jumping out. That takes a lot of creativity. Their eyes are on the spine. That's a big key factor that a lot of these guys can do their big jumping tricks on. Now, when they're jumping out to the left, it puts them in line with that box jump, which again is a huge banger portion of this course. And the Visit Estonia quarter pipe and spine are right in front of the judges' faces. It's a good place to rack up a lot of points for these riders.
Okay, so you can see you've got the spine there as that critical bit. One of the interesting things for me, the spine is actually, it's not quite vert, it's like an enormous mini ramp. So you're finding a lot of people, we've seen it in skate, we saw a little bit of it in street. It's very easy to land flat and lose your speed in there. So actually measuring your landing, meeting that transition is critical.
When you jump a spine, you got to be perfect. If you land flat, it could really ruin the flow of your entire run. Or if you hang up, which is also very easy to do, that can ruin the flow flow of your run. So when you're jumping a spine, you have to be perfect. And you were mentioning that last night when we were watching the contest about how the guys that really nail that spine are able to keep their momentum, keep their speed, and have a good overall impression on their run.
Okay, we've talked through some of the big guns, all of the top 3 qualifiers, but I know that we talked about some of them earlier on. I know that you've got your eye on some of the dark horses, some of the people who could really rise up. They didn't qualify maybe quite as well as they could, but they're worth watching.
Well, yeah, and you mentioned dark horses. I'm going to go with Justin Dowell as my first dark horse candidate. I mean, he is hungry. He's been training. He's been working out in the gym. He's been taking his game very, very seriously. He doesn't have a lot of stuff to ride down there in Virginia Beach, Virginia, so he's been traveling around a lot. He's been sleeping on couches. He's been living in Europe just so he can ride his bike more and more. I know he would love to have a good placing here. And how can we not mention Kenneth Tencio, the man that can backflip off of just about anything from flat. He qualified in that 4th position, and I know he would really love to get back on the podium because I know he did really well here last year, and he's always a crowd favorite, and he always puts together really, really solid runs.
Well, I don't want to let the cat out of the bag, but he had something special in Best Trick earlier on. If he can put that into a run, then we're going to see this place erupt. Now, the spine area that you talked about earlier on, it's the blue section behind us on the course. That is the Visit Estonia section. There is a contest running throughout the BMX Park contest. It's a contest within a contest to see who can do the best trick on that section. The winner will win an all-expenses-paid trip to Estonia for some adventures, and they'll even be able to enjoy a genital shrinking swim in a freezing lake. That will be fantastic. Okay, we're gearing up now. The mics are up and live, which means the contest is about to get underway. We'll be back with BMX Park right after this. So it begins. BMX Park Finals once again, 2019 here in Tallinn, Estonia. This is one of the most eagerly anticipated events. It happens in the depths of winter, and it's our first glimpse of the world's best BMX park riders in 2019. You excited, Chris Doyle?
I'm very excited. I mean, we have some newcomers in our final, and we also have some legends in competition riding, such as Daniel Dares. I mean, this is going to be one for the ages.
Okay, big news. Kostya Andreev of Russia is in for Tom van Bogart. Unfortunately, he nailed himself in the best trick competition. Jack Clark, Boyd Hilder, who we talked about earlier, and then Rim Nakamura, Daniel Dares, Arik Reziev, and of course your dark horse pick there in 9th, Kenneth Tencio. So the judges, we saw Bart de Jong. There's 6 other judges sat up there who are tasked with picking what is sure to be a stand-up street fight to pieces. We're going to kick off with one of the men who's been a stalwart of Simple Session over the years, Kostya Andreev. He gave the first place qualifier, Irek Rizaev, his Red Bull helmet here in 2017.
Oh, is that right?
Yep.
Well, that's very nice of him. Now, Kostya Andreev is in the final because, like you said, Tom Van de Bogard split his lip in our best trick competition, so he's not riding, and Kostya is in his place. And you know what? Kostya is very capable. We know what he's capable of. He's a very technical rider. He's got a ton of tricks. One thing with Kostya's riding, sometimes he doesn't use the course as well as some of the other guys. He has all the tricks. He just needs to put together a better run to ensure him a better place. But I know he's capable. I look forward to watching him ride.
Well, it'd be interesting to see whether he was actually training for this, because he didn't know until 10, 15 minutes ago that he was in. So hopefully he's warmed up and found himself a line. Here's Russian roulette. Oh, the flare in. Do you call that a flare or a backy?
I would just call it a backflip into the quarter pipe, but he did it into such a small quarter pipe, and he still caught a ton of transition. Eyes on this box jump. 360 double tail whip to bar spin, showing you that tail whip to tabletop on the quarter pipe. I mean, this is a great run so far for Kostya. It's hard to believe that he didn't actually make it into the final, but I mean, he's flowing right now. He's killing it.
Huge smile on his face as well. Landed a little flat in the quarter pipe, but muscled his way through it.
There was that 360 downside tail whip that's opposite for him, ending it out with a bar spin as well. He's really, really comfortable with tail whips from both directions. I'll try my best to make sure that you know which ones are regular and which ones are opposite. He's getting a little bit lost here right now. Oh!
And he didn't give up on that. The back wheel jammed, and he still tried to get it in.
Yeah, he really tried to salvage that. The back wheel hits the deck. And then, you know, he tried his best to save it, but, you know, unfortunately couldn't pull it back around.
If you can distill determination, then it's right there in Kostya Andreev. Cracking first run, and it set the tone for Simple Session BMX Park finals here. You can see the rest of the riders. Daniel Vedemeyer up on the top, Rim Nakamura. There was that. Yeah, you were right. He caught so much transition, generated so much speed.
Yeah, then this 360 double tail whip catches it, late bar spin. Man, it looked like he could have thrown another bar or another whip in there. There's that tail whip transfer.
Caught it really early and let it hang.
There's that 360 down whip to bar spin. That's an opposite tail whip for him. Showing you the flair. This is where he got a little bit lost and he started to just go back and forth. And that's easy to do. When you get tired, you get lost and you start going back and forth, and it's hard to find your line and get your groove back. But hey, 79, that's a good first run for a first rider. And he'll be back for run number 2.
100%. Well, we always say that 75 is the standard, so he's 4 up, and we saw a real bottleneck of scores there. Next in, Kieran Riley, the kid from Newcastle. It's a fairy tale story, the fact that he's even here, Chris.
Yeah, that's right. He's just coming off of a broken ankle. He had to get a couple different doctors' permission to be here, but as soon as he got the clearance, he started rehabbing that ankle real fast, lots of ice, and just trying to get here because he just wanted to be at Simple Session. It's so good to see it pay off because he's in the final with the big dogs. He's the youngest kid in here, and I really look forward to watching him ride.
You always get an energy out of these guys. Get the pure stoke of being here.
I mean, what an honor to be so young and to be in such a big final like this. Showing you the 360 triple tail whip. Guys, he didn't make the finals for nothing. He's got the jumping tricks. He's got the flow. Showing you the backflip into our bowl area. Oh, tail whip pocket. Oh man, bar spin into the foot jam mid-run.
And there, it's the urgency that I was talking about. He's just cracking the tricks in there. Second bite of the big jump.
Oh, showing you the front flip over the box jump. I didn't know he had enough speed for that, but he pulled it right around. Now, and I got to give a shout out to Simple Session because so many of these big contests are invite only. You don't really get to see the underdog come into a contest and make a big final like this. So shout out to Simple Session for allowing people to come out of nowhere and really register and prove themselves amongst the big dogs, such as Kieran is doing right now. Oh! 720 tail whip at the end of his run. You're so tired at the end of your run, and to be able to pull off a 720 tail whip like that, oh my gosh.
Well, the doctors told him it was 24th of January when he bent his ankle. The doctors thought he might have snapped the bottom of his fibula. They said that the x-rays didn't show anything, but they were saying that the doctors had to explain that because he'd taken so many beatings in his life, they didn't trust the messages his ankle was sending to his brain. So they said, rely on the pain. Obviously, he is pain-free, and he has just delivered an absolutely insane run here. First runs, Simple Session BMX Park Finals.
Oh man, I love it. The 720 tail whip, smooth as you like. And again, at the end of your run, when you're so nervous, you can actually see him kind of favoring that ankle a little bit.
Okay, Akim Kujawaski looking up like he's finished his homework first. The rest of the judges still face down, working this one out. Kostya Andreev, the only rider with the score on the board so far, with a 79. Kieran Riley waiting. 80.6. So Kieran Riley moves into the top spot and gets a nod of approval. Look at him, he is so stoked, not just to have made it here, but to have made finals and then to have put a run down that he really wanted.
At only 17 years old. I mean, come on, we're talking about underdogs, and we're talking about guys that aren't as well known, and it brings us right to Ernest Siebold.
Okay, this kid from Latvia, get ready to hear the Saku Arena light up. They were cheering for him in qualifiers and it was half capacity, so this could get very, very noisy. He's an up-and-comer. First result was a win at the FIS in Montpellier in 2016. He's been building on that slowly. But I think the standout trick for me from his qualies was that 180 over the volcano and then the wrong way over the big jump. So in control of this trick.
Yeah, he's got his fakies so dialed. And it's really risky. When you do a big 180 in the middle of your run, it can really kill your flow. But yeah, as we saw yesterday, he was 180ing over the box backwards and he kept his run going. Showing you that bar spin, 360, the late turn down, a personal favorite of mine as well.
He's spoiling you, Chris.
I'm a sucker for a turn down. There's that 180 bar, pulls it right back around, and then he gets a trick on the next quarter pipe as well.
That was incredible. He had so little time to set up for that.
Yeah, coming in fakie on anything middle of your run like that is not easy. And the judges, it really, really impresses the judges. Here we go, eyes on this box jump backwards. There's that huge 180. Oh my gosh, he has not missed that 180 once all weekend. So consistent.
Truly phenomenal. Ernest Siebold really turning it on for the Saku Arena. And again, all the way through. What?
My goodness, hangs on to it, showing you that fakie into the tail whip. Not even those camouflage pants could disguise how awesome that run really was.
Okay, Ernest Siebold. He has spoiled us with that run. I expect to see a big score because I mean, Kieran Riley's run was big, it was fast, but again, I mean, we're talking more technical potentially, but equally as big.
Yeah, 360 bar spin, late turn down, showing the different box jumping tricks. It's not a big, crazy one, but he's showing you that he's got that consistency. I love it. 180 bar spin over the spine, pulls it around, and still got a trick on the next quarter, and then this. This is just huge. Big 180 over the box backwards. I guarantee you no other rider is doing that in today's competition. But I like it. Just so many fakies, and he nailed every single fakie. It's so easy to get sidetracked when you step off of a fakie like that.
Okay, 77.4. So Kieran Riley remains at the top, and amazingly, that is the lowest score we've seen so far. Ernest Siebold. Next in, Justin Dow, one of your dark horse picks, Chris Doyle. Let's see what he has to say for himself.
Ever since I first came to Simple Session, I noticed that in Talent, it's like a holiday. There's signs everywhere. People love coming to this event, and it really, the riders can feel it. The crowd absolutely loves it. They're not just in their seats bored. They're like jumping up and down, and it's just a great vibe and makes the riders push themselves a little harder.
Okay, Justin Dow back in, I think it was late 2017, start of 2018. was riding a lot with Dandez and decided that he was going to have a complete makeover, bought a new bike and new clothes, and said, if I feel good, then I'm going to ride good, and it has worked for him.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's looking good out there. I mean, he's our only American in today's final. So it's really great to have him out here. I know he's been working hard to step up his game and really put out some good contest placings.
Well, he's made no secret of the fact that he's going for Tokyo.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And it's really respectable. He's from Virginia Beach, Virginia. Not a whole lot of stuff that goes with his style of riding. So he's really been traveling a lot. He's been sleeping on couches. He's spent a lot of time in Europe just trying to get in different sessions where he can. So he's really putting in the work right now.
And he's tearing around this course at the moment.
Yeah, I love it. 540 out of the catwalk and into the vert wall. What was that? I'm going to need to see a replay on that. It looked like a bar spin tail whip.
And then straight back through the other way through the jump ramp, transfer onto the deck.
Yeah, and Justin Dowell was another guy. He had some problems in qualifying yesterday. He kind of blew his first run, and he was really relying on that second run to bring him in, and that's why he had kind of a low qualifying spot. But that was a full pull, and I'm going to need to see some replays on that because I don't want to call anything that's wrong. And he had a trick in there that I'm not even sure what it was, but we're going to have a replay and take a look at it.
I honestly thought we were going to start a little bit slower. Everyone's come out with their flamethrowers and is just laying the course to waste. Oh, yeah. This final is on fire, and we've only had 4 riders. Woo. Take a breath, Chris. We've got 8 more to go just on the first runs. And there is a lot of quality, including this man, Justin Dow.
360 bar spin, tail whip, late bar spin. You can see he's a goofy-footed rider, so he's spinning into that front foot, but he's still doing his kicking the tail whip to the left, so I guess that's a regular tail whip for him, but yeah, he's a goofy. There's that bar spin, tail whip, completely letting go of the bike, throwing the bars and the tail whip at the same time. That might be the only one of those that you see in today's final.
Ridiculous, because he's got so little momentum with it. It looked like the bike stalled, and then he's got to use the gyro of the handlebars once he gets them to generate that frame spin. 86.2, you called it, Chris. We didn't see the full strength of it yesterday. Let's see how he feels about that. Tully's with him now.
Congratulations, I mean, amazing. What a strong run. So your first run was super strong. What can we expect from you in the second one?
Same technique, just bigger tricks and a little bit cleaner.
Do you think your jet lag has affected you? Because you come a really long way to actually come to simple session.
Not jet lag, but it's much colder here. So I got a little bit of a fever a couple of days ago, and I just been sleeping every night, no partying for me.
Well, thanks a lot, and we were looking forward to your second run.
Thank you.
I don't know about you, Chris, but I see a theme developing here.
Yeah, it seems to be if you steer clear of the parties a little bit, maybe focus on the contest first, you're going to have a little bit better of a result.
Okay, Cam Peak on course, the kid from Loughborough. If you saw this written down, Chris, you might struggle to say it. Most Americans see it as Luga Baruga. But it's spelled L-O-U-G-H, B-O-R-O-U-G-H. So, the kid from Loughborough, very, very powerful, clean, solid BMXer. Been here 15, 16, and 17. Missed 18, but he's back this year and he means business.
I love that 360 tail whip to late can-can. That's the originality and the creativity that the judges really like. That's a different trick than we're going to see anybody else do. And I've never actually seen that trick done before at all. I mean, a 3-whip to a late can-can is pretty cool. And he's in the mini ramp section right now.
Great height on that flare.
Yeah, and you know what, Ed, I think it's smart for these guys to get in and out of that bowl section and try not to get stuck between the spine and the quarter pipe, because sometimes guys get stuck there and they waste a lot of time. And I think he spent a lot of time there. But check out the tech side of his riding.
Oh! That was beautiful.
That was a hang 540 tire tap. And to be able to do that in the middle of your run like that, I mean, that's really impressive. That's like taking the flatland elements to your park run, and that's really impressive from Cam Peak.
Well, what will be interesting now is to see, we saw some of the street riders getting marked down for adding park to their runs. Does that come in as street? Would it come under that title?
With a trick as original and as creative as that, probably not. I think he's going to be okay. I think the judges, take it easy on him for that. I just love that right there. The 360 tail up with the late can-can. Showing you the flare. I think he might have spent a little bit too much time in this mini ramp area. But again, it's right in front of the judges, so why not, let them see what you got right in front of you.
The get into that trick alone it should be so clunky, and he made it look so smooth.
You can tell that that's a trick that he's done thousands of times. To have it that consistent and to be able to put it in your park run like that is really impressive.
Laser focus from Cam Peake as he waits for his score. Little bit of head rubbing there. The brains are starting to heat up with the judges now.
Brian Kaczynski looks like he's about to have a mental breakdown.
Yeah, the cheeks
already.
are starting to puff. He's got the hamster cheeks on, hadn't he? I've got to say, full credit to Akim Kujawaski, though. He looks really, really relaxed about this.
Oh, well, this is not his first rodeo, that's for sure. He's judged a lot of these events. He's been to a lot of contests throughout his life.
Okay, so 75.4. Wow, amazingly, that gives you an idea of the quality we've seen so far. That puts Cam Peake in 5th. Daniel Vermeersch from the Netherlands, such a strong rider. We've seen so many good lines from him.
Daniel always comes out with like the big transfer. He comes out with things that none of the other riders are really thinking about. And he always uses the course a little bit differently than a lot of the riders. He doesn't have a lot of the big flashy tricks that so many of these other guys have. Like, he doesn't have the tricks that we saw Kostra Andreev doing, but he always uses the course to his advantage. Big transfers, big airs. It's really fun to watch Daniel do his thing.
Okay, so it's just up on top of blue quarter there, working himself up. Started really late by today's standards. He only started in 2013, age 23, so he's made some pretty quick progress.
Yeah, I would say. And here he goes. It looks like he's eyeing up this transfer that we saw him do in qualifying. Check him out, cranking into the box jump. Huge transfer into the catwalk.
It's enormous. I measured that out because we had Liam Pace do a smaller version of that at around 8.5, 9 meters, I reckon, so just shy of 30 feet. That one is another 3 meters on top of that.
Plus, you have to make sure you come out low enough on the box so it doesn't shoot you too high in the air. You want to get that distance.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I don't want to give anything away. I don't want there to be any spoilers, but he did something in our best trick contest that we might see right here. Going for the wall slap on the fence. First one we've seen do that in the finals today. In the best trick competition, he did go up and foo-fanoo that rail up there. So will we see it again? I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Oh! Wow, he played his get out of jail free card there. I thought he was going over the bars and face first into the flats. He's just taking a moment to process what's happened there. Got his foot tangled up.
Well, yeah, it was the end of his run. He was probably tired. He was going ice to toothpick, balancing on that front peg, and then you could tell he got a little bit sideways and then just started to fall into that vert wall like that.
Okay, there's the start. Look at that. Evel Knievel, eat your heart out. I think he actually missed the transition. He probably landed flat.
Yeah, it looked like he actually could have gone a little bit further. He's showing you the turn down out of the vert quarter. And then, yeah, I thought he was going to go for the foo-fanoo on the fence, but he goes for the wall slap. That's a good usage of the course. I mean, the rail technically isn't a part of the course, but, you slap it, you come back in. The judges really like that stuff.
Still waiting for his heart to slow down, I think. But did that come after time? No, it didn't. That is why he's got 67.6. So Daniel Vermeersch will go into 6th position. Jack Clark, our next rider, kid from Benfleet in Essex. So Vermeersch in 6th, Cam Peake in 5th, Justin Dow looking very comfortable, 6 points clear of Kieran Riley. Kostya Andreev, Ernest Zebolds in the middle ground there, but the 6 highest qualifiers still to drop in first runs of BMX finals here at Simple Session 19. Look at that look on Jack Clark's face. He relishes these moments.
Yeah, and you know what? I was talking to Jack Clark earlier, and he said a mistake that he's made in the past at Simple Sessions is he always goes too hard at the club the night before the final, and he can never ride the final the way he likes to. And I was like, so what'd you do last night? And he goes, well, I went out, but I made sure I was home by midnight, back at his hotel by midnight. So he took it easy last night. Let's see if that gives him helps him get a better placing.
He learned his lesson though on Thursday night, because I saw him on Friday morning and he wasn't having the best time. But you can see Dan Dares smiling there as Jack Clark drops in. This guy's progressed at such a phenomenal rate. He's been podiuming regularly over the last 2 years.
Showing you that 360 tail whip, and it looked like he wanted a little something more out of that. I know that he does the 3-whip to tabletop really well, so maybe he wanted to snap a table out of that tail whip. But you know what? He's on course. He's flowing. Showing you the 360 turn down over the spine, opposite downside tail whip on the quarter pipe. And you know what? Like, he doesn't have the hardest tricks, much like Daniel, but he always uses the course really well.
Whoa! Beautiful style.
Beautiful 360 invert.
Just leaving his head behind in that.
It's almost like an off-axis 360 half backflip invert that he does, similar to what we see Larry Edgar do, a previous Simple Session winner as well. But look how much ground he's covered already, and he still has about 10 seconds left in his run. I love the 540 tabletop.
If you're pulling it apart, maybe landed a little bit flat, but just the rate of tricks, and as you said, the number of tricks that he's packing in and the speed he's traveling is a really, really dynamic run.
Yeah, ton of stamina from Jack Clark, but you can tell he wanted to go into something else after that tail up on that 360 like that. But check it out, 360 bar spin, late table over the box backwards. And there, I love it. It's a 360 invert. It's like kind of like a off-axis, like a backflip 360. I don't want to say backflip 360, but he was doing like a big corked out invert on that. It was really cool to see.
It's almost like an inverted table, isn't it?
Exactly.
Like what would be a 360 table, and then you just tilt the axis right up. So it's nearly a backflip, but not quite.
Right.
Difficult one to call. So Jack Clark waiting patiently for his score there. Difficult to tell on this. I haven't got a measure of these scores yet. Just doing a little bit of a bike check there.
I was hanging out with Dustin Orem, who is the guy that you just saw Jack Clark talking to. Dustin Orem is like the bike mechanic for all these athletes. He's like the team manager for all these guys. And the Simple Session crew is giving him some tubes to where he could change out other people's tires when they needed it done. I say next year we give Dustin his own booth and a couple more tools and make him a staple here at Simple Session.
Yep. Simple Session official mechanic. So, broken spoke, or is he letting a bit of pressure out?
You know what? He might have a bubble in his tire that he needs to let it out and maybe put a new tube in there. But, you know, he has time before his next run.
82.8, second place for Jack Clark. He's just under 4 points behind Justin Dowell, who is setting the pace. Now, though, we have Boyd Hilder in the stocks.
Yeah, Boyd Hilder. A couple good features I like. I usually just pick them and just try to connect everything, do as many tricks as I can, and get those big ones done. Such a good vibe here. Everyone's cheering so loud. Beer's good too.
In the social, if you've never come across it before, Simple Session is as much a festival here in Tallinn as it is a contest. The nights are as lively as the days. Ride, eat, party, sleep, repeat, I think is the motto. So Boyd Hilder from the Gold Coast. You said not just a favourite of yours for this contest, one of your favourite riders at present in BMX.
One of my current favourite bike riders, one of the leaders of the new school, really. I mean, he's really been making a lot of waves, a lot of top 5 finishes, a lot of top 3 finishes from Boyd. I mean, he's just so fun to watch. He's similar to someone like Dennis Anderson. He's really technical, he has the big tricks, he's really original, unique, showing you the one-handed cannonball on that. Oh, foot jam on the vert wall.
And did you see the stoke on his face as he came out?
Yeah, he's loving it right now. He's always got that smile on his face. Downside tail whip, opposite for him actually. Back at the box jump, here he goes. Showing you he's got the backflip tail whip. He can do a little bit of everything, Ed. And then check out this line, you're gonna love this right here, I guarantee it. Up to our Red Bull quarter pipe, bar spin into the fence. And check him out, 360 down. Wow. He's got such a full pull going right now. Oh, look at that nose pick, no brakes, using the quarter pipe. Check this out. I saw him lining this one up in practice. Watch how he ends this up right here. Backflip to manual down the ledge. That's the only one of those you're going to see in this entire park competition. That was an amazing run. And ladies and gentlemen, you can't help but see why this guy is one of my favorite bike riders right now. He's got me tongue-tied and twisted. Great run from Boyd Hilder.
Well, if that was a run, its density and mass of tricks and its pure quality would make it gold, I think. There's nothing else for it. That was so many tricks packed in there, and they all looked as beautiful as this.
Yes, I love this toe jam right up. Canadian toe jam on the top of the vert wall. Watch his face, yeah.
Go on, give me a run through. What's the difference between a toe jam and a Canadian toe jam?
Well, a Canadian jam, you put your front tire right on the coping and you face straight down, whereas a regular toe jam, you're just kind of balanced on the quarter pipe. But check this out, backflip. Did that front wheel touch? I'm not sure. But he was doing the flip to manual in practice. And man, just an impressive showing for his first simple session, all the way from Australia. It's such a long flight to get here.
So Irek Rezaev stood next to Boyd Hilder. Will be looking at this score with great intrigue. What does he have to beat? 90.6 is the answer, Irek. And he's got a nervous smile on his face there, or maybe he doesn't. Maybe he's confident he can still take that one down. Boyd Hilder lighting up the Saco Arena. He moves into top spot. And a few of the street riders who are now off duty, enjoying the spectacle here. Another one of Chris Doyle's dark horse picks. It is Kenneth Tencio out of Costa Rica. Looking forward to seeing this one go down.
Really looking forward to watching Costandre. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little tongue-tied here. But Kenneth Tencio, I mean, he never disappoints. He always puts on a good show for the crowd. He puts on a good show for the judges, and man, just always so fun. He loves to do those backflip drop-ins, and he's so good at them. I mean, I can guarantee we're going to see a couple different backflip drop-ins from Kenneth, because that's just what he loves to do. He loves to start out his run with the backflip drop-in, really let the judges know where he's at, and then continue on with some hard-hitting riding as well.
I think 2018 was an amazing year in one sense for Kenneth Tencio, because he cranked so many big results. Second at Simple Session, second at the Feast in Hiroshima, and then second at the UCI World Champs. But it made him, for me, the perennial bridesmaid. He didn't step up and take that win. And I think that's his big challenge for 2019.
Yeah, I'd like to see him on the top of more of those podiums, and I definitely think he's capable, but you know, maybe he needs to ride the course a little bit better, maybe he needs to, you know, have another hard, difficult trick, and we just saw how much creativity can pay with a guy like Boyd Hilder, so maybe be a little bit more creative with the riding, but I don't want to take anything away from Kenneth, because he's an amazing bike rider, and he's certainly capable of taking that top spot if he can put it all together.
Well, this was his contribution to Best Trick earlier in the day, and it looks like he's going to start with it here. Kenneth Tencio, prepared to take your first run here at Simple Session 19 BMX Park Finals. Looks like it could be something special.
Yeah, and we saw him in the Best Trick competition. This is no joke what he's doing right here. He's gonna make it look easy, but trust me, this is so difficult. There's that backflip drop in, and he is on course. He loves to start his runs out with a big backflip drop in.
And a massive shot of adrenaline.
Backflip, double tail whip. He's had a few blank airs since, but he is on course and he is ripping right now. Out of that backflip double tail whip, he went straight into that quarter pipe and did a huge Superman seat grab. That's like Kenneth Tencio's signature, the Superman seat grab on the quarter pipe like that.
Okay.
Here's another one. Oh, another backflip drop, and that's like straight bunny hop backflip.
So much consequence.
Yeah, he put out an edit a few years ago where he actually just backflipped down a set of stairs to flat. First and only guy I've seen do that.
Well, you go and watch his Biopark edit, and there's one in there that he muscles off a rock, and you can see just how much force he's able to put through the bike. Backflipping to flat, and just slamming his wheels into the deck there to celebrate.
He is stoked right now, and he's taking it really seriously lately. He's doing a lot of CrossFit. He's keeping himself in shape. He's eating really well, and that type of stuff pays off when you come to a simple session like this and do really well.
First person over to congratulate him, Boyd Hilda. So, judges look pretty comfortable with that.
There's that flip drop in.
And there's a lot going on when he lands that. You've got to have that line right.
There's that backflip double tail up straight into the Superman C grab. That's the only Superman C grab you're going to see on that quarter pipe today. That's like Kenneth Pensio's signature. And speaking of Kenneth Pensio's signature, you have the backflip drop in going straight in that time.
And it's so small, that flip. If he doesn't make it, he's not going to know. He's just going to be chewing literally he's going to go all the way to the bottom.
Right, he's really perfected that. It used to be he had to have a big drop to get that done, but now he's just doing it off the top of quarters into wedges. Really impressive.
Okay, so waiting for that score on Kenneth Tensio. 90.60 is the score to beat from Boyd Hilda. Justin Dowell on 86.2. Ernest Siebold stood next to him there. $87.2, that is good enough for second place. Slots him just behind Boyd Hilda, just ahead of Justin Dowell, who's on 86.2. So Kenneth Tensio in that all too familiar position of second there. He will be very, very pleased with that for a first run score though. Now, the most experienced competitor here in probably skate, BMX Street and BMX Park, Daniel Dares.
Daniel Dares loves coming to the simple session. He's been coming for years. He's such a talented rider. He lives in my old hometown in North Carolina. It's and he has his own training facility down there that he shares with the community. It's the Daniel Dares Action Sports Complex, doing a lot for the scene down there. So I'm always excited to meet and talk with Daniel. He's a really good guy to talk to, and someone that's been around for a long time. He's the oldest guy in our competition.
My favorite thing about Des is his legacy, the fact that he's brought through Justin Dowell and he's helped bring through Kenneth Tensio. His legacy in the sport is going to be some of its best park riders. He invented the cash roll, didn't he? Or was he the first guy to get it unlocked? 2006, I think, at Dew Tour was when I remember him bursting onto the scene and using the cash roll in the final.
I think he was the first guy to start trying the cash roll. He was probably the first guy to land the cash roll, but then there was a lot of guys that came out afterwards that kind of perfected it and made it their own. So, but still, Daniel gets a lot of credit for thinking outside the box and trying a different trick, because the cash roll is really something to see. I mean, I remember him doing it at a contest in Huntington Beach a few years ago, and it was like you couldn't even comprehend, you couldn't even wrap your brain around what he was trying. And it's funny because a lot of guys can now do the cash roll, and it's so funny to see it in that infant stage when he was just like kind of working up the bugs of the actual trick.
Okay, man with 5 X Games golds, 4 Dew Tour Park overall titles. He is a true contest professional. Never, ever write him off.
Triple tail whip 360. Look, he's building up the speed, going up to the fence, that wall slap, coming back into the Red Bull quarter pipe, no hander down. I like seeing Daniel use a lot of speed in his run, going up and over the cameraman there with the 270 bar spin.
That was a joyous thing. He didn't flinch, only the cameraman did.
Oh, showing you the 720 over the spine, corked out, hung up a little bit, but it didn't seem to affect him too much. There's another corked out 7 over the box jump, showing you the diversity. And you know what? It looks like he's a little bit off of his line right now, and just kind of like, you don't usually see Daniel repeat tricks like he did on the spine and then on the box jump. So he might be a little off his line right now, but still, he hasn't stepped off. And there's that 270 double tail whip into our Visit Estonia wedge right there. Oh, tail whip in the flare. Man, he is stoked right now.
What a machine. Look at him. You can see what it means to him. Really letting the stress out of that one, and that puts him in a fantastic position now. But like you said, there was that one moment of repetitiveness. 7 on the spine, 7 on the box. Do you think that's going to hurt him?
it'll be interesting to see how the judges judge that, because like I was able to tell that he didn't want to do 2 720s in a row. The judges also know that, so they know that he wanted maybe a little bit more, but still he didn't mess up. He still had a lot of good elements in that run, so we'll have to see how the judges want to play that.
We talked about this in skate earlier, and we talked about it with Tony Hawk because he's had so much experience of this. There's a danger with someone like Daniel Dares that the judges are marking him against himself rather than everyone he's riding against.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and it's hard not to do that if you're a judge. I mean, because you know what he's capable of and you know what he can do, and here's that corked out 720 over
Just
the spine.
tapped it as well, didn't he? Tiny case.
Yeah, and you know what? It looks like he might have wanted a no-hander in that particular 720. So even though he repeated tricks, I mean, he didn't step off the bike. He was clean. He was consistent. He was doing things that not everyone was doing, including that 270 double tail up and our Visit Estonia part of the course.
Well, we spoke to Bart de Jong earlier in the day. Tully was speaking to him, and you know how hard his job is, Chris. You know that they're all going to be looking for excuses. So they haven't got a big one here, but maybe they've got enough not to give him the top spot. Oh, just enough. Well, we talked about splitting hairs. 90.2. Daniel Dares slots in just 0.4 of a point behind Boyd Hilda, and this is turning into a very, very close battle. We know that if Daniel Dares can add and tidy up what he needs to there, that is a winning run.
You are absolutely right, and I mean, we're going from the oldest rider in the competition to the youngest rider in the competition. Mr. Rim Nakamura coming to us from Japan. He is a Japanese celebrity. They love him down there. He's pretty much won every contest there is to win in Japan. I met him at the Vans contest in Woodward. I'd never heard of him before. He's this young kid. He's blasting huge airs. He can ride a bowl really well. He can obviously ride a park course really well, and I really look forward to watching him ride in today's final.
Okay, 14th place here last year as a boy aged 15. He's now 16 and he is very much in the mix for the win. Let's see what he's got.
I love the no-footed can-can to start things off. Eyes on the box jump. Oh my gosh, that was a lot of bar spins. That was a bar spin, catch bar spin, 360, no-hander to late bar spin.
And I'm going to go out on a limb. I reckon there was 8 or 9 feet of daylight in that tabletop on the quarter pipe.
Man, me personally, I could watch. I love when guys can just blast a quarter and do a huge tabletop like the one that he did on that quarter.
Interestingly, on a trick like that, he's going to be compared to Daniel Dares and that double tail whip 270 out of the spine area.
Yeah, and it's like we keep saying, I'm so glad I'm not a judge, because judging these guys has got to be so difficult. Now, he's slowed down quite a bit after that big hit on the box jump, and it looks like his eyes are back on the box jump now. Here we go.
Okay.
360 tail up to bar. I mean, you know, he started out really hard, and he's since slowed down quite a bit. And you know what? The experience to ride a contest really does come with age, and you see how Daniel Dares knows where to go and what to do and how to put together a run. I don't know if Rim has quite figured that out just yet, and he will figure that out, but maybe, you know, in his second run, he can learn a little bit from whatever kind of score he gets and maybe do something a little bit different.
Yeah, we just felt the air come out of the run a little bit around the 40-second mark.
Yeah, I mean, there's a trick I've never seen before. There's a 360 inward can-can on the box jump backwards. And then there's a 3-whip to bar spin over the spine. Catches plenty of tranny to keep his run going. And there's the 3-whip to late bar spin. Looks like he wanted a little something either before or after that. I don't know. It's the end of his run. He's probably pretty tired, but it's awesome to have Rim Nakamura out here.
Okay, 84.2. So he looks okay with that score, but he's got a second run to push that up. Tully's going to have a quick chat with Rim now.
Rim, congratulations, what an amazing run. I mean, your aerials are out of this world. How do you pull them off?
I'm so excited and so stoked in my round, but I'll do my best next round.
I mean, you did an amazing run. You fly so high. What does it take to go so high? Because you go higher than anyone else in this competition.
Higher is my favorite trick because I love, just love.
Thank you so much, and yeah, good luck to you on the second run.
Okay, back to the center of the course, and Irek Rizaev stands proud. First place qualifier. He has the luxury of dropping last. second place in 2018. Can he go one better here?
Well, he's been knocking on the door. He's been training. He's been riding hard. I mean, we see here that he's got some wins under his belt, and he's a staple at Simple Session at this point. So it would be really awesome to see him take top honors, and can't wait to see him on this run right now.
Okay. 1080 over that big jump box was one of his signature tricks in 2018. What has he got in store for us this year? The whip and spin king, the Russian hurricane. Well, certainly the crowd are getting worked up.
Yeah, he's got some favorites out there. And that can really change the whole dynamic of how a rider rides. When you have so much support behind you, it really makes you want to go for it. It makes you want to try a little harder. You don't want to let down your friends. You don't want to let down your fans. So he's going to go for it. He's all smiles now, about to drop in. And it's never easy being the first place qualifier, because really the only place you can go is down, and you got to maintain that first place position.
Well, he's gone punchy on the all-white outfit. Oh. His legs were running through those 3 whips.
Man, just makes it look easy. Was that 4 or was that 3 tail-ups on that 360?
Could be 4. Well, he did the quint whip in 2017, so you never know, it might have been 5.
Right.
Impossible to count at that speed.
So he's up on our Visit Estonia quarter pipe. He does, in fact, spend a lot of time on the box jump, and whereas you see it, the judges really look for variety, whereas Eirik really, I mean, even though every time he hits the box jump, it's something special, he does spend a lot of time on the box jump. Maybe he should switch it up and maybe focus on a few more areas of the course, but even still, I'm always impressed.
Okay, making his way back into that Visit Estonia spine bowl combo. And he's made it work for him.
Nice.
Little crack flip.
ET over the box. You know, Ed, I know he has a lot more in the tank from that run. I don't know where that's going to put him, because I feel like I've been wrong trying to predict what the judges are going to do. But
to me, it felt like, ignore all of the tricks, just in course use, if you're using one element of it, he ignored this back left-hand corner of the course. And to me, I think that, oh no, proved wrong again. Forgotten about this section of the run.
Bar spin to toe jam, not an easy trick. It's so crazy to do that in the middle of your run like that. Showing you the backflip tail up. It looks like he wanted a little something out of that, maybe a tuck no-hander, double tail up over the jump box backwards. And again, he spends a lot of time on the box jump, but every time he hits the box jump, it's something special, right?
Very true, very true. Okay, so Eirik Rizaev waiting for his score. Daniel Dares is prowling around the top there as well. He's pretty interested in this, I'd say. At the moment, we've got Boyd Hilda on 90.6, Daniel Dares on 90.2, Kenneth Tencio on 87.2. Can Eirik Rizaev come in and break up the party?
Well, you look at the judges talking, maybe talking about why they gave him a particular score and how they judged him. But look, there's the 84.6, good enough for 5th place. He does not look too happy with that right now. But you know what? He's got one more run to go. Maybe make up for a few mistakes that he made on that run 1.
Okay, so a lot of work to do for the Russian. You can see him down there in 5th. And we're getting backed up at the top there. Boyd Hilda, 90.6. Dan Dares, 90.2. And then Kenneth Tencio and Justin Dow, both within a point of each other. Rim Nakamura in 6th. Jack Clark, 7th. And then we drop down. But what this shows us, only Daniel Vermeer dropped a trick there. And I mean, that was a small slip. It was a small bail. Everyone else, solid runs all the way through. The consistency is out of this world.
Everyone really represented themselves well in their first runs. And I'm really excited to see what happens in run 2, because a lot of those guys got really good scores. It's going to be interesting to see those top 3 guys, well, the guys that are sitting top 3 right now, see what they can pull off, because they're sitting so comfortable with those good scores.
What it means, we're going to see everyone really, really push on these second runs. They have to.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to be back with our second runs in just a moment. The conclusion of Simple Session 19 BMX Park after the break. Welcome back to Simple Session 19. This is second runs of BMX Park Final, the conclusion of an incredible weekend of action. 12 men, one run. Who can take home one of the most prestigious titles in BMX? So let's take a look at the standings after run one. We've got Boyd Hilda in the top spot, but only just ahead of Daniel Dares, the competitive veteran who is wily enough to take that top spot if he wants. Kenneth Tencio down in third. Justin Dow, one of your picks, Chris Doyle, for the top spot.
Yeah, Justin Dow is definitely a guy that can upset that top three, in my opinion. But, I mean, look at that international field that we have here at Simple Session. It's so great to have these riders come together here in Tallinn, Estonia, to be a part of such a special event.
Yeah, if you actually look through all of the different nations, I think 3-4 years ago, it was predominantly Australian and US riders. But you come and have a look now. You got Russia, United Kingdom, Latvia, USA, Netherlands, Australia, Costa Rica, Venezuela, Japan, and Russia again. So, okay, if you want to watch any more skate and BMX content, you can do it all at will using the Red Bull TV app. There is so much content on there. You'll find independent films and you'll find live events anytime, anywhere, on any device. Join us on Red Bull TV using the app. You can go and download it from the App Store. And there's plenty more content, actually. Crash Dives from Boston. I think we've got Vulcan Pipe Masters going on at some point today. The swells kicked up over the weekend, so that's going to be pretty interesting as well. Right now, though, I can hear Daryl now and Andy Zeiss firing up, which only means one thing. We're preparing to let 12 of the world's best BMX riders loose on this behemoth of a course.
And it's like we were talking about before. I mean, these second runs are really going to be some banger second runs because we have guys that really need good scores, and then we have guys that have really good scores already, so they're going to be able to play around a little bit. This is going to be really interesting. Our first guy up is going to be Mr. Kostya Andreev, coming to us from Russia.
And I think as well, Daniel Vedemeja is the only rider who kind of slipped or bailed in that first run. So what we've got, all the riders have laid down a solid run. There is nothing to save it for. Usually you're going to go out there and you're going to leave everything, your heart and your soul, blood, sweat and tears on that course.
Yeah, absolutely. This is where it counts. This is how we do it. Very stoked to get this underway.
Okay. One of the happiest men in Tallinn, Estonia. Look at that smile.
One of the happiest Russians in general.
He looked like a 6-year-old who'd just been given a lollipop. So Kostya Andreev prepares to start his second and final run.
Starting it off the same way he started off his last run with the backflip drop in. Bar spin to foot jam. Spending some time in the spine and the quarter pipes, going 270 bar to bar. Wow. This is a mouthful. 360 double tail up to late bar spin. Straight to that tuck no-hander. He's back in the quarter pipe spine area. And he's back on the box jump. Loves some box jump tricks. Loves to spin, loves to whip. There's that 360 downside tail to a late no-hander.
Smile is still fixated upon his face.
He's on the spine, you know, he's slowing down a little bit. Yeah, you get tired at the end like that, and it's just, sometimes easy tricks become hard. Oh my gosh,
is that a decade?
That was a decade on the spine.
I haven't seen one of those for ages.
And again, he did it at the end of the run, just when you're exhausted and you're just trying to squeeze out every ounce of energy that you've got. Impressive showing from Kostya Andreev, who originally wasn't even supposed to be in our final today, but due to Tom Van de Bogard getting hurt, it put Kostya in the final.
Okay. There's the opener for 10.
There's that 360 double tail up to late bar spin. There's that 360 downside tail up to late bar spin. I mean, he's got all the spins, he's got all the whips. He can bar spin and tail up into and out of just about anything. There's that 450 bar spin. So awesome to see Kostya in the final. Even though he wasn't originally supposed to be here, it's still great to have him.
He's still dancing, still enjoying himself. The boys pretty pumped up.
Definitely not cold in the Sacco Arena.
That's true.
That guy was feeling the stress, I think, feeling the heat. So, Kostya Andreev waiting on his second run, scored currently on a 79. And I can't see him bettering that. It was a really, really clean first run compared to his second run.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to move up with that score, but you never know. Hey, he does move up. Look at that, 84.9, puts him in 5th place. What do I know? I'm not a judge, thankfully, but the judges seem to like that, putting him up into 5th place currently.
Okay. So Kostya slots in just above fellow countryman Irek Rizaev and just below Justin Dow. Kieran Riley, really, really solid first run. At the moment, though, it's got him in 9th position. Is there anywhere the 17-year-old from Newcastle can go with this run? Tyneside Hospital, where x-raying his ankle just 2 weeks ago. Suspected crack in his fibia.
Yeah, 360 in, eyes on the box jump. He's got so many box jump tricks. 360 triple tail, similar to how he started off his second run, or I'm sorry, his first run, 360ing off the catwalk. Man, flipping into our spine section. There's that tail whip into the Visit Estonia quarter pipe.
Oh, and he nearly caught the inside of that transition of the spine, didn't he?
Yeah.
Bulldozed his way through it.
It's amazing because he's a smaller guy, but he's got so much strength and so much power to get that bike around. Showing you the front flip on the box jump. It's as if he doesn't have the speed to clear the box, but then he just front flips over it. Like the front flip takes him the rest of the way over the box.
He's going long and low on that, isn't he?
Exactly.
You can see Boyd Hilda shouting encouragement at him. Go and get it, boy!
Well, yeah, all these guys are supporting each other. Everyone wants to see their fellow riders put in a good run. Oh my God!
What?
That was a 720 double tail whip at the end of his run. Oh man, Kieran is so psyched on that right now.
I love it as well. He finished with the equivalent of an Obama mic drop, just letting the bike fall off the edge of the quarter there as he jumped off.
Wow, a 720 double tail whip. The only other guy I've ever seen do that successfully is Kyle Baldock. So to put yourself on that level, you know that means a lot. I mean, wow, to do that at the end of your run, to pull that clean as he did was just something special. And you know what? He's only 17 years old. You know we're going to be hearing a lot more from this young man. There's that 360 with a triple tail whip, flipping up and in to our Visit Estonia obstacles, tail whip into that Visit Estonia quarter pipe, showing you the front flip over the box jump. Again, did he spend a little too much time on the box jump? There's that double tail whip, 720. Man, he made it look so easy. He made it look good.
It's incredible, isn't it? The tricks that you start to see come through. I think for Kieran Riley, the position is not important at this stage. He's come and he's laid down the run and the tricks that he wanted to get here in front of a big crowd. The experience is definitely worth something. Can he improve on his score? 80.6 currently in 9th position. Tell you what, those are some big scores for 9th. We're in the 80s in 9th position. That gives you a glimpse into the quality we're seeing here at Simple Session 19 BMX Park.
It really shows the competitiveness of where BMX Park is right now. But again, Kieran's going to be a guy that we're going to be hearing from a lot more in the future. This is not his last Simple Session by any means, and he's going to have a bright future ahead of him.
Okay, he's starting to gather his breath and maybe dream of a score. Okay. I'm pretty sure I saw Akim Kudrowski's glasses steaming up before as well. Judges are going to get smoke coming out their ears. If everyone keeps landing their runs, this is going to get really, really congested. 86, massive improvement, pushes him up into 5th, just ahead of our last runner, Kostya Andreev, and just below Justin Dow. So those top 4 spaces remain settled, but Kieran Riley pushing himself right up the standings and putting yet more pressure on everyone else. So Ernest Seabolds, despite a really clean first run, finds himself down in 10th place with a 77.4.
Yeah, I love watching this guy ride. Like we were talking about before, a lot of fakies, a lot of consistency, maybe a little bit more difficult jumping tricks, and he'll be in that top 5 spot. But so far, so good. He's up and running. There's that truck to turn down. Going from the table to late tuck no-hander. Tuck no-hander into the Visit Estonia. There's that 180 bar spin, pulling it around, and still gets a trick on the next quarter pipe. 540 bar spin. It's so amazing to me that he's able to go fakie like that and still continue his run. Now, we know where he's going from here. He's been doing this line all weekend. He loves coming in and doing a 180 over this box backwards.
Nice. And yet again, he hasn't dropped one of those in competition.
Pulls it every single time. I was kind of hoping that he would maybe throw a bar spin or maybe something else in that 180 to help up his score a little bit more. There's that 180 bar over the spine, pulls it at the buzzer. Oh!
Well, his chest is heaving. And what we're seeing here, these scores, these runs, the heat is getting turned up in the kitchen, and you've got to bring it with your tricks if you want to stay with the competition right now.
Yeah, like I said, maybe if he puts a little bit more something into that 180 over the box backwards, it might really help him out a lot, or maybe have a few more difficult jumping tricks. But you know what? He's so young. This is probably his biggest contest that he's ever been in a final in. So, you know, he's going to learn as he gets a little bit older and gains a little bit more experience about how to use the course to his advantage.
Well, he came last year. This is his first simple session final for sure. He came 34th in the qualifiers last year. So he's bumped himself up massively, regardless. And like you say, one for the future.
Yeah, I love that we have so many relatively unknown guys, a lot of newcomers here in the final. And that's a testament to the simple session and how it's not just an invite-only contest, because there's a lot of talent out there. And the simple session really highlights that.
Okay, so 78 for Ernest Siebold's. It's not enough to jump him up out of 10th position, though. Next in, Justin Dowell, UCI World Champion from 2018. One of those riders who just went through the gears last year. Really, really made his presence felt competitively. And you said his qualifying position wasn't a great reflection of his ability.
Well, in qualifying, different to what we see in the finals, both runs counted, and he blew one of his runs, so he really had to rely on really one run to pull him through and pull him into the finals. But luckily, he pulled it off. Now he's in our final, and he shredded. Triple bar spin on that hip right there into the Red Bull quarter. And that was actually the trick that he messed up on in his first run yesterday. Was that triple bar spin into the Red Bull quarter. 360 look back over the box jump backwards. Again, he's a goofy-footed rider.
The Twix.
Backflip, bar spin, catch bar spin. Coming back to that side of the course. He's running out of gas a little bit. See what he can end with. Smith, something we saw a lot of in the street competition, and he's off the course.
Oh! I'm pretty sure he under-rotated that flare, but somehow he managed to hold on to that. Didn't flinch going over the fence and out.
And luckily, no innocent bystanders were harmed during
the making of the trick. Wow, Justin Dowell, take a bow. That is spontaneous and creative BMXing at its best.
Yeah, and impressive. Like he said before, he was sick for most of his trip here to Estonia, so to be able to come out and maybe sweat it out a little bit more, and he's gotten better and better with each day. He's looking better in practice, he looked better in the contest, and he's here in our final, and he really put on for us. Man, that late bar spin comes in so late. He's so close to the ground, but he still pulls it off somehow.
Under the mentorship of Daniel Dares, Justin Dowell's riding has gone from strength to strength. Now finds himself in 4th place here at Simple Session.
And there's that bar spin while doing a tail up at the same time. That's the only one we're going to see here at the park competition.
Gut feeling, better score?
Well, I've been wrong all day with what I think the judges are going to do. I'm going to give him, that would be a score very comparable to his first run because he didn't really switch it up very much. He did a lot of the same tricks, and in the end, he rode off the course. So, you know what? He actually does get a better score, an 86.8, keeps him in that 4th place.
Do you know how cruel that is? He's just 0.4 off the podium spot. He's now just 0.4 points behind Kenneth Tencio. So close, but no podium for Justin Dowell. Next in, we have Cam Peake. So competed in the Revolution TV series in the UK. It was a cross between pinball and BMX, rollerblade and skateboard park riding.
Oh, there's that 3-whip late and a late table afterwards. I'm sorry, a 3-whip to bar spin to late table. There's so much going on. These guys are able to do so much in the air. They really designed that box jump so these guys could be in the air for as long as possible. It throws you really high, and especially coming in out of that roll, and those guys are just maxing out the capabilities of that box jump.
Okay, so Cam Peake again working really, really heavily in the Visit Estonia bowl section and spine.
I'm not taking anything away from the tricks that he's doing while he's in that section, but you can't spend too much time there. You want to keep it moving and use the rest of the course.
Oh, and just slipped to pedal.
But no big drama with another 10 seconds on the clock.
That 180 toboggan over the dig volcano, has to step off, looks a little bit tired, and I think he's going to be leaning on that first run score.
Yeah, lost his rhythm there. It was such a clean first run. So Cam Peake raises his hand to say thank you to the crowd, but it wasn't the run he was looking for.
There's that alley-oop toboggan into our vert wall. I love the 360 downside tail over the spine. But again, I think he spent maybe a little too much time in that part of the course, the Visit Estonia course.
You've got to share the love.
I guess so, yeah. You got to. The more ramps you can hit, the more diversity you can show around the course, the better.
Okay, so second run score, you're right. Chris doesn't improve, 72.6. Cam Peake is in 11th, though, with a 75.4. That's what I love about this. We've seen incredible consistency. We've seen almost all runs landed, and we've got some incredible riders at the top of the standings, and it's all still to play for. So,
oh, here we go.
The only man who dropped his first run. All the pressure is on Daniel Vedemeja.
You know what? I'd really love to see him throw a trick in that big transfer that he did into the catwalk from the box jump lip. You know, even if it's just a turn down or something, it could really juice up his score a lot.
The finish of his first run was a heart-stopping moment on top of the biggest quarter in the park. Let's see if he's recovered, found his mojo.
Let's see what he's got here. Going for this transfer yet again. Oh, and oh man, he's got a good run going. He landed a lot better on that catwalk from the box jump lip. So now he's up and rolling. And I will say in our best trick competition, he did foo-fanoo the top of that rail that he wall slapped in his first run.
That's where he's got to go, surely.
Well, he knows he can do it. He's already done it, so let's see. His eyes are on it again. He's losing a little bit of speed. Now he does not have the speed to get up to that foo-fanoo, so he's going to settle for the wall slap. But this is a guy that's always full of surprises. He's still got about 12 seconds left in his run. Let's see what he's got. Does that ice pick, chooses not to go into a toothpick this time, and I think that's smart because he really took it on that first one in his first run. Showing you the nose wheelie down the ledge.
Okay, Daniel Vedemeja gets one in the books. I don't know if it's going to trouble the top spots. I don't think it's a top 3 position. Maybe with the foo-fanoo. But if you've been wrong, I'm almost guaranteed to be wrong.
Again, I think if he had thrown a trick in that big transfer right there, it really would have set it off a little bit more. There's a 360 X up over the box jump backwards, coming in a little bit flat. And you know, sometimes when you land flat, it can really kill the rhythm of your run. This is a good run for Daniel, but I know he's capable of a lot more. Here's that wall slap on the fence. And like I said, in the best trick competition, he did a foo-fanoo on that fence, which was incredible. Something that I really enjoy, something from my generation, really.
Okay. So this is going to be so interesting. Like 77 points is only good enough for 11. Incredible. So Verdadeira gives us a smile and knocks Campeak down into 12th. But let's go back up to the top of the standings as we get into the business end of the second round. Boyd Hilda still standing proud at the top on 90.6. Dan Dares a whisker behind him on 90.2. Kenneth Tencio and Justin Dowell separated by less than a point in third and fourth. Kenneth Tencio still to drop. Irek Rizaev also still to drop. Jack Clark there in ninth is our next rider in. Rim Nakamura as well, the Japanese rider. A lot of room for him to improve. So Jack Clark, you've said it, he's just so consistent, so smooth, and you get so many tricks to a run.
Yeah, and you know what? He might not always be winning every contest, but he's always in the mix. He's always in the final. Like, every time he comes to a contest, he always does well. And I always love the way that he utilizes the whole course. Watch how much ground he covers with his run.
Beautiful control on the bars there as he skipped over the roll-in.
360 double tail whip. He's already off to a way better start than he was in his first run. There's that 360 bar, catch bar over the box backwards. There's that 360 turn on over the spine, downside opposite tail whip. Coming back, eyes on the box jump. Ah, I love it. There's that off-axis 360 with an invert, and then showing you the 540 bar, catch bar. This is a really great run from Jack Clark right now. Certainly better than his first run so far.
Oh, and he's just styling it out through here.
Oh, I love the 450 bar spin.
Cranks back in.
There's that 540 tabletop.
Time for one more.
Oh my gosh. You know what, Ed? That was a really good run. I'll be interested to see where that lands, and could that possibly be a top 3 spot?
It's a really interesting debate that we're getting into now. We're not talking quality versus quantity, but there is a massive amount of quantity. But as you said, they're not the absolute banger tricks, they're just like the B+ tricks.
Yeah, but the way he utilizes the entire course is really impressive. I mean, I think
And that's got to amplify all of the score.
Exactly, exactly. If you're using the course better than the rest of the field, that's going to give you an amazing score.
Actually, I'm going to rephrase. They're not the A+, they're the A tricks.
I love that trick, though. That's just like an off-axis 360 invert. Looks so good.
And that's the other point, isn't it? There's so much of Jack's own flavor in all of these tricks.
Yeah, absolutely. 450 down with a bar spin. So that 540 with a tabletop. That was a clean, consistent run. He never touched the ground. Really impressive showing from Jack Clark.
So he's currently in 9th on an 82.8. That's the thing now, having 80s and barely making it into the top 10. All he needs, if he goes up 4 points, he's gone up 2 points there, and that is going to push him into 7th position with an 87.2. Wow. Whew. Take a breath. Okay.
Well, up next is our current leader, Mr. Boyd Hilder. I mean, he's got such an amazing score under his belt already. What do you do for your second run? How do you improve upon that? Do you just go out and have fun, or do you really try and up it now?
Well, he's got 4 very good riders still to go after him. He can't take any risks. He needs to lay down an absolute banger here.
That's true. Oh, I love that. It's like a one-handed cannonball. A cannonball is where you grab the seat with both hands, but he's only doing it with one hand. He's the only guy doing that, showing you the originality, the creativity. And so far, he's on the same line that he took in his first run. Let's see if he mixes it up a little bit. In his first run, he did the backflip tail up on the box. Let's see if he does the same thing. So he's sticking with what he knows. Let's see if he switches it up towards the end a little bit. I'd like to see him maybe bar in and out of this fence right here. Here we go. There's the bar in, bar out. Oh! So he upped the ante just a little bit there. And sometimes that makes all the difference. He hasn't touched the ground. He's being really consistent. And then he's going back. Let's see if he gets this flip to manual maybe a little bit cleaner.
Okay, he's got enough here.
Check him out, there's that toe jam. Here's the flip. Oh!
The last trick, the very last trick, and he drops it. But Lewis Mills straight in there. Alex Hyam straight in there. The Aussie crew congratulating him.
Wow, absolutely incredible run from Boyd Hilder.
And you see all of his peers up there, the BMX street riders, a lot of them covered in beer where someone's thrown it.
Well, you saw the way he was breathing when he was pedaling towards that obstacle. I mean, he was out of breath, he was exhausted, and he's still trying to go for the flip to manual. I love the way he was starting his run, 180 bar, 180 back in with the bar.
Put it in perspective for me though, look. Clear as day on the bike there, no brakes. How do you land a backflip into a manual with no brakes?
You just gotta have that balance, you gotta have that confidence. I love this Canadian foot jam on the top of the vert wall.
I had it explained to me that that's a Canadian foot jam because it's more gnarly.
It's just further north. I love this, the way he wedges that front wheel in there, pulls it back in.
Oh, there's so many elements, so many little idiosyncrasies of the course that he found there and he used. If he could have finished that, undoubtedly would have improved his score. The bar spin to bar spin could have done it, but 88.8. Second run has taken every last ounce of energy out of Boyd Hilder. Let's hear from the man himself. Thule's with him now.
Boyd, just 2 amazing runs. I mean, can you tell us, what did you change between the first and the second run?
I missed the bar spin on the first run off the wall ride, and then I really wanted to get a little manual after that flip. I got unstuck on that, rolled my ankle a little bit, but I finished, it's all good. Done what I can.
I mean, you're such a steezy rider. Everyone says that about you. You're always smiling. Why? Like, are you always happy? Or what's the secret?
What do you mean? I can't help it. Out here with the boys, just having fun.
Well, it's good to have you here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, the kid from the Gold Coast remains in the top spot for now, but there are 4 of the world's best park BMX riders still to drop. The next one is Kenneth Tensio.
Well, as we can see, he's starting off his run similar to the same way that he did in this first run, and we know he's got this flip drop in dialed. But on the first run, it looked like he went a little off course. Maybe he can stay a little bit more on course and maybe line up a different run here.
Get that full 90-degree rotation in.
I mean, he loves doing this. It really hypes up the crowd. He always goes to the highest perch, gets himself ready. Here comes the flip.
Oh, and it's gone. He actually pulled his hands off the bars there.
Well, in BMX, when you do a little half crank, we call it a ratchet. And he could only ratchet into that backflip drop, and he had a very tight space to get into right there. So, you know, you can understand why he messed up. I mean, that's a tough break, because you know when he gets that flip drop in, it is on from there. So unfortunate for him to mess up like that, but you know, he's still got about 30 seconds left, so he's going to go out, do it for the crowd. He knows he's not going to improve on his score, so this one is strictly for the people here in Estonia.
Whoa!
And he bails out of the 720, got out of it real good, waves to the crowd, said, all right, I'm in 3rd place. Let's hope I can stay there for now.
Wow. That must be pretty scary, letting go of your bike in the middle of a 720, because you don't know where the bike's going to go at that stage.
Well, you don't know where the bike's going to go. You don't know where you're going to end up. He's over a spine. He could, you know, end up coming up real short on that, so I think he got out of that really good.
Yep. Great get out of jail free card played by Kenneth Tensio there. So Tensio will stay in 3rd. Still to drop. We have Daniel Dares, who's currently in 2nd, then Rim Nakamura. And lest we forget, Irek Rizaev, right down in 8th at the moment. That man has the capability to get up top, but right now, it is the elder statesman of BMX Park, 33 years old, the most experienced competitor here. And he is still here because he takes this so seriously. He's so passionate about BMX and he works so hard. You can see him visualizing his run now.
I really like that Daniel's in this position right now, because I just want to see him go for it. I want to see him just lay it out all on the line. He's in 2nd place right now. I mean, he doesn't have anything to lose. He's a staple here at Simple Session. The people love him. So I say, Daniel, just go for it right now.
Places the ball of his left toe onto the pedal and starts cranking.
All right, tuck no hander in. Eyes on the box jump. There's that 360 with a triple tail whip. He's off and rolling. There's that double tail whip. Back into our Visit Estonia part of the course. There's that flip. I'm sorry, the flare tail whip. There's that 270 double tail whip. Man, he's done so much and it's not even 30 seconds yet.
That was phenomenal.
But also keep in mind, Ed, he's done a lot of tail whips so far. Judges like variety, so is he doing too much of the same trick? I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Good point. Let's see if he mixes it up here.
270 bar spin, up and in. Going back into our Visit Estonia side of the course. There's that 720, coming up a little bit short again, but he keeps it going. I don't know how he's able to hang up like that and keep it rolling. Oh, and it threw him off his rhythm a little bit. Wanted the 360 table, no-handed flare.
So Daniel Dares will not improve his first run score. That is certain. What it does mean is that both he and Boyd Hilda at the top of the standings have a nervous wait while Rim Nakamura and Irek Rizaev work out whether they can overhaul their scores. So Boyd Hilda on 90.6, Daniel Dares on 90.2. So much focus at the start of that run, but Daniel Dares got knocked off on the spine. Just clipped it with the back wheel a little harder than he had done in the first run. Yeah, as you said, it soaked up too much speed for him.
Sometimes you miss a beat, you lose the rhythm, and it can really just throw off your run completely, but I love it. Check it out. Triple tail up and a 360, coming a little bit low, but it didn't really affect the rest of his run from there. Then again, sometimes the judges like to see a little bit more variety. You see him doing a lot of tail whip variations. He was like in and out of everything with like the 270 tail whip. I mean, those are gnarly tricks, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to take anything away, but sometimes you got to have a little bit more of a variety in there.
I loved the timing on that flare whip. He sent the whip right through the apex of the flare. Looked beautiful, especially from the camera angle we had. Okay, so Daniel Dares 86.7 second run. So it's the 90.2. It's good enough for second at the moment, but as we've said, two riders still to drop. He could get pushed off the podium by Rim Nakamura or Irek Rizaev.
Yeah, we got a contest on our hands now. This is going to be really interesting. Rim Nakamura's probably never been in this position before where he needs this solid score in order to get back up in that top three, because he's usually such a consistent rider that he's usually not into that top three.
Okay, let's take a look. We can see Rim Nakamura riding the skate park of Tallinn earlier this week. Beautiful place this, aka the spot. So smooth.
Yeah, Risto and his brother Mario have done so much for their scene here in Estonia. They've built skate parks, they hold contests. I mean, and those two are a testament to what you can do if you put your mind to it and really grow your scene.
Dodging 4-year-olds in an 80-meter manual. That's what I call solid riding. Right now, Rim Nakamura, the man whose dad owns a BMX shop and named him after his favorite part of a BMX, is about to drop in.
Rim is on course here. The suicide no-hander on in. There's that 360 tail up to bar spin, late no-hander.
Sketched out a little bit, but he's kept the intensity. That's the joy of youth. You can recover from something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Still got the explosive energy, even though he landed flat, to carry into that downside tail.
He did a triple truck driver over the box jump backwards. Everything's happening so fast, it's hard to keep up with. Bar spin, catch, bar spin, 360, late no-hander. Here he comes into the Visit Estonia part of the course, up into the spine.
And we have seen real variety in the tricks so far. A lot of great use of course, really diverse tricks.
Yeah, he's running out of steam a little bit.
Well, we saw this last time, didn't we, on the first run. He's really got to crank things up here. Find something, as Tony Hawk called it earlier, an opus to finish his run. Bar spin off the side of the course. He's out of here.
You know, in qualifying, he did a wall ride out of the Red Bull quarter on the fence and into the Visit Estonia side of the course. I would have liked to have seen him incorporate that into his run here in the finals, but you know, maybe he wasn't feeling it. Didn't want to throw it in there. There's that 3-whip to bar, no-hander. 3-whip bar. Oh, it's the same trick, different angle. Bar, catch bar, and a 360 on the box jump backwards. That's so difficult.
And he looked like he landed almost flat.
He looked like he landed flat on a lot of different jumping tricks, and that might have, you know, really affected his run and the way that he was flowing the course.
Okay, so Rim Nakamura, unlikely, I think, at this stage to up his score, which means there is just one man left who can overhaul Boyd Hilda at the top of the standings. It also means that, oh, there we go, 81.9 for second run. So Rim Nakamura will stay in 9th position. He is just behind this man, Irek Rizaev, currently in 8th position, and the only man who can take the win here in 2018, he was in 2nd place. Can he go one better here? It all comes down to this, the final run, the 2019 simple session. Look at him, he loves it. He can feel the sense of occasion here. A few of the crowd are on their feet.
He looks happy, he looks relaxed. That's how you need to be. He's in a pressure cooker right now.
Let's see if he can release the valve.
Go 450 tuck no-hander on the box jump. 360 with a triple tail whip. Here's that bar spin to foot jam. Amazing, just a few years ago that was such a new trick, the bar spin to the foot jam. Now people are just doing it in the middle of their park runs. All right, back to the box jump. Always impressive on the box jump tricks. Backflip, tail whip to late tuck no-hander.
This is an all-inclusive run. No piece of the course is being left behind here. He's tricked everything, I think.
He's covering all the ground, he's doing all the tricks, he's doing everything right so far.
Completely different run in terms of energy to his first run.
Yeah, well, you know what? He had a couple blank airs there. Misses.
It's on time, though. It does miss that pedal.
But just prior to that triple tail up, he had a couple blank airs. He had a blank air on the quarter pipe, he had a blank air on the spine. I don't know how that's going to affect him, but we'll have to wait and see.
Okay, so a lot of people look like they're kind of holding their breath there for that score. I think when you compare it to that first run of Boyd Hilda, I don't know if it's good enough for the top spot. It could be, what do you think, podium?
The best I would do, I'd put him on podium, but I don't think it's enough to take that top spot. Again, I've been wrong all day, but...
Okay, podium, he needs 87.2.
Okay.
For the win, he needs 90.6.
You know what, Ed? I think Boyd's got this one. I really do. But again, I'm not the judge. I'm just going off what I see, what I know, but great contest nonetheless.
Well, I think you said it yesterday, we're all actually judges, only some of us get paid. So
that's a quote from Matt Berenger, actually. So yeah, I was just using his words. Shout out to Matt. And in fact, Matt Berenger was the first guy to be doing a lot of snow biking, so it was cool to see that earlier in the day from Boyd and Alex.
First time Boyd Hilda's ever been on snow over here in Estonia. Look at that.
Patiently awaiting the scores here, plugging the sponsors, keeping everybody happy. The judges look so... Did we do the right thing?
I'm pretty sure there's some, there's just a lot of melted brain matter. Dandez, Kenneth Tencio, also awaiting these scores. And Justin Dow on the end there. But Tencio and Des, podium positions are at stake here. Irek's fingers locked there around the can. It's almost prayer. Pray to the God of judges, Irek. Okay, they're taking their sweet time.
really building the suspense here. You know that when that score comes in, this place is going to erupt. Whether it's Boyd Hilder or whether it's somebody else that has won this thing, this place is going to go nuts. Look at everyone's putting their cameras on Boyd.
Okay, so 87.2 will get him up in, well, anything above 87.2 will get him onto the podium. 90.6 for the win. Phones are flicking between the judges booth and Irek. Then all the Aussies giving Boyd the point.
Keep the camera on Boyd just in case, because that's going to go nuts over there in the stands if Boyd's won this thing.
Boyd, tiny little glimpse. He's like, oh, is it coming? Is it coming? So 87.2. They're taking their time with this one. The longer it takes, the more the judges are arguing. And public opinion is certainly swaying towards Boyd, I think. 86.9 is good enough for fourth position for Irek Rizaev, and he knows it. And look at that. Lewis Mills gets a hold of Boyd Hilder. All the Aussies are in there. Matt Ray filming it all.
It's going to be a big night in Tallinn tonight. The Australian, first time to Simple Session, comes home, takes the win. They are carrying him to the podium.
I've got to give you a lot of credit here, Chris Doyle. At the start of this show, you said Boyd Hilder for the win. He's not just my favourite rider, I think he's favourite for this contest.
And I think he was due for a big win just like this.
Okay, confirmation of the results. Boyd Hilder takes the win, first time at Simple Sessions. Daniel Dares, the veteran, there in second. Kenneth Tencio drops a place from last year, still on the podium though in third. Last year's second place, Irek Rizaev in fourth. And then you look at the quality of riders and the height of those scores down there. Rim Nakamura, an 84.2 in ninth place. Yes, you did read that right. A phenomenal final. Chris Doyle and I will be pulling it all to pieces in the post-show. Please join us after the break when we run through all of the action. Welcome back to the Saku Arena here in Tallinn, Estonia, where the dust is starting to settle on an epic day of action at Simple Session 19. These are the final results from BMX Park Final. Boyd Hilder, the rookie here at Simple Session, has taken the win. Chris Doyle called it. Daniel Dares in second, Kenneth Tencio in third, and Irek Rizaev in fourth. It was a phenomenal final. The scores so impressive. We talked about it there. Jack Clark, 84.8 in eighth. Rim Nakamura also on 84 in ninth position. That gives you an idea of just how high the standard was, Chris.
Such an amazing contest. My palms are still sweating, and I want to thank Boyd Hilder for proving me right. I called him for the win, and he won it. He came out, and he proved me right. So big kudos to him for his first big international win. So great contest.
Okay, we can take a look through the top three runs, and it starts with Kenneth Tencio. Couldn't put his second run down, but his first run was enough for third place.
Yeah, he's showing you that flip drop in, which we saw him mess up on in his second run. Superman seat grab on that quarter pipe, doing a lot of things that nobody else was doing, and just showing you that originality, the creativity. Backflip, double tail up, showing you that he's got all the jumping tricks. Really impressive showing for the man from Costa Rica. Then, of course, our veteran, Daniel Dares, showing you that triple tail whip over the box. He's still progressing, still learning, still knows how to ride a contest. So awesome to have a guy like Daniel Dares out here.
Phenomenal competitor. So professional and we called it in there, laser focused, but here he is, the man of the hour.
Yeah, with the one-handed cannonball. The only one we've seen do that over the box. And then the Canadian toe jam on the top of the vert wall. So much originality, so much creativity, showing you why he's number one right now.
And this one, just a lovely little touch at the end of his second run.
I'm saying creativity is key. He's got the tricks, he's got the originality, he's got the creativity. He has all the tools that you need to be on the top of that podium.
Okay, it's his first time up there at Simple Session. Thule is with him now.
Boyd Hilder, you won. You came, you saw, you conquered, and you won Simple Session 2019 BMX Park. Congratulations.
What's he doing in back? No, I'm so stoked. Thankful to be out here with the boys. Like, so shocked to actually come out on top, but didn't think that.
So this was your first time in Estonia. I also heard this was the first time you saw snow. How are you going to celebrate? Are you going to just jump in a pile of snow or something, or what are you going to do?
Definitely not that. I'll probably get some beers, maybe cool them down in the snow, but not myself.
Can we expect you to come back to Estonia next year?
I don't know. I had a good time. I'm sure I'll be back.
Is there anything, like any final words about this whole competition and setup in Estonia you want to say to everyone?
It's rad. Come out here, get amongst it.
Thank you so much. Congratulations once again.
Thank you.
Straight from the horse's mouth. That seems to be the general sentiment from anyone who comes to Tallinn.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Everybody comes to have a good time. People come to ride and party and just be a part of the culture. Not only in Tallinn, but be a part of the BMX culture here, because these guys really do it right.
Okay, I'm going to put you on the spot now. I want your favorite moments from both BMX Street and BMX Park.
Well, one of my favorite moments from Street was watching Brock Rayford do that double peg to hard 360 over the rails. So much power, so much control, so much pop, and he did it at the end of his run. That was super impressive to me. I really enjoy watching Brock do his thing.
I actually really enjoyed the interview afterwards. He was so modest about that as well. Really good measure of the man.
Well, he did just come off a knee surgery. He hasn't been riding a lot. This is his first big competition back after the surgery. He's been doing rehab. He wanted to get back, and he had a really impressive day.
Okay, moving on to Park. No shortage of moments to pick here. I can't wait to hear this one.
Absolutely, no shortage of epic moments. I mean, we saw Daniel Wiedemeyer with that huge gap from the box jump into the catwalk. That was really impressive. We saw so many different box jump variations. We saw the bar spin in and out of that wall ride from Boyd. One thing I'm going to pick out in particular, since we're talking about Boyd Hilder, number one, was doing that backflip to manual down the ledge. He comes in, messes up a little bit on the Red Bull quarter pipe. Then check this out. Backflip, and he keeps that front wheel up. Oh, I'm sorry, he touches the front wheel a little bit, but still, the only guy to even contemplate doing that, the backflip to manual. He had a little front wheel bonk. Don't judge him too much. He's going to have a good night.
The fact that he was even there in his imagination gives you a glimpse of the man's capability. This is a pretty special year, but next year is going to be even more impressive. Next year is 20 years of Simple Session.
beer, and birds.
Dates are already set. You don't need any more excuses. Come and join us at Simple Session 20. It's going to be incredible. Now, if you're watching on Red Bull TV, don't forget we've got plenty of other action for you to check out. The Vulcan Pro is on a pipeline on Oahu's North Shore. Difficult conditions yesterday, not a massive swell, but that has grown overnight, and it should be starting just as BMX Park Finals finish. So go and check that out. It's going to be an absolute feast. J.O.B., Kai Lenny, who else have we got in there? We'll have Mason Ho, I think, and Billy Kemper, the big wave legend. So I'm afraid that's it now. Simple Session 19 has drawn to a close. Christo, thank you very much.
Thank you, Ed.
It's been an absolute pleasure. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have. We'll see you at Simple Session 20.
You'll watch the way this confidence builds.
Go to Fesrad.